No, they're not. Super discretion. Moving on to this round.
Everyone, if you hate snakes, then this snake will end it here for you. Double kill going for Kyrie on the back of this fight. Cancel back and forth.
"16 teams have been battling it out for the last few weeks to get to this stage. We are in the prize playoffs of University Esports for the UK and Republic of Ireland, and we have a phenomenal matchup for you to start out with. Durham Defenders versus Donuts. It's going to be amazing. I love Nottingham, so I think that's going to give me an edge in this fight. But I'm happy to introduce myself, Egg to the Ruiner, along with Nagli, hopping on the mic today. How are we feeling about it, man? How are we feeling about this?
Feeling pretty good about this. Obviously, it's my first time casting Overwatch. Really excited to be here for the first time ever on the webcam, on the mic. And I'm also excited to hear you absolutely nerd out about Nottingham, which obviously is a team that you've got a lot of connections to. And also represent the Midlands in general. Derby, not represented here, but Nottingham are our brothers in many ways.
Yes, even though the Midlands is identified correctly as being the Midlands, Nottingham are a shining star of that. This team is amazing. I'm biased. I don't care, man, but it's absolutely amazing work. We're literally married, so it kind of helps in that sense as well. But on the other side of the coin, we do have the Durham Defenders. These teams have played together before, and when they did, Nagli, it was incredibly close between the two of them. A 3-2 win, barely in favour of Durham. So proving themselves the better team on that day, but hearing a lot about the game, it was very close. Came down to final fight of the final map of the final hour. It could have gone away. The best of 3 series here today. I think it's going to be an absolute banger.
Let's hope we see another final fight, final point, final map. Let's hope we go all the distance. Looking at a little bit of the team information we've actually got here.
.3, 4.4k region, having some mixed success, trying out a whole lot of things. Durham Defenders, we're told to look out for their DPS line in particular, Mantra. But if I had to discuss a donut, if I had to discuss a standout player from Donuts at the same time, it's got to be X-Sooty. So it definitely will be a matchup. Mantra, I heard praises about, man. So obviously some phenomenal gameplay could be coming out there. But also on the flip side, X-Sooty, not only is he incredibly good at the game, top 80 Winston, he's also jacked in real life. I once saw him pull a car with his teeth, because it was in front of him on his way to a lecture, and he would have been late, so he just like pulled it with his teeth, and then he ate the car.
Okay, you lost me a little bit with that last part there, but
no,
I'm excited to see.
Just
oh my god.
Yeah, he's kind of wild like that.
What a beast! Yeah. I'm excited to see. He's listed here. He's a bit of a Widow player. We'd love to see Widow. Not a character we see too much of at the meta at the moment. We've seen it a little bit here and there, especially in the EMEA, that's hard to say, isn't it, region, but not seen too much success. Hopefully X-Sooty there does get a chance to actually pull out that Widowmaker and click on some heads, because that's what we really want to see.
Yeah, teams have been adapting quite a fair bit, and while you're actually discussing hero picks, such as the Widowmaker, I think we can also talk a little bit about what we expect to see played, and something that's quite unique and quite general to this new Season 9 patch is that it's a little bit all over the place, to be honest, Nagli. Obviously, we've been watching the top players from Europe, from Korea, from North America, duking it out over the past couple of days, and they really like to experiment. A lot of teams favor the Doomfist, some favor the Ramatra and the Moira, some go for the Winston Kiriko kind of death ball setup with a Reaper as well. Some teams actually opt to run the double flex support and run the Sigma, traditionally on maps with range such as Circuit Royale, but also in the Korean region on teams on maps where traditionally you'd think that a Reinhardt brawl centric style be favored, such as King's Row. People are actually turning it on its flip side. Okay, well, instead of brawling, we're going to take advantage of the fact that it's very one-lane focused, very bunga-bunga, but instead we're just going to run a Zen and a BAP in our backline, and we're going to shoot you up to get to us. Now, Durham, we've had a little bit of scouting information about what they might be playing. Last time it was a lot of the Junker Queen Rush, someone who seems to be doing pretty decently in the new patch, mostly considering the idea that low sustain is good. DPS passive means that whenever you get hit by any ounce of DPS damage, you are going to lose 20% of healing for the next couple of seconds. So your tanks can no longer just be heal botted. You have to play really fast, really aggro, and you know, a character like Junker Queen kind of works that. Play for those cooldown cycles with the commanding shout, go in and, you know, wreck them all. Simple.
And slash them up. One thing I have heard, one mantra, pun not intended here, is that actually it's mitigation that really matters at the moment more than healing. It's more about mitigating the damage that comes into your team more than making up for it in the healing. So that explains a lot of why we are seeing things like Doomfist come out. He's a tank who really thrives in just blapping down a character immediately rather than expecting these to be longer, sustained, more like Goats or Deathball style fights, where it's a healing diff more than anything. You want to get in, get a pick, confirm you've won the team fight, and then get out as quickly as possible. Because as soon as you get trapped in a bit of a trench warfare, that DPS passive starts to kick in, and your healers become increasingly irrelevant as the fight goes on.
Best offense is a good the best defense. we're not saying the other way. The best offense, the best defense is just kind of killing the enemy team quicker than they can kill you. Yeah, right? Absolutely. It's all about aggression. It's all about speed, which kind of leads into our two must picks in the meta right now: Tracer and Lucio. Lucio got a little bit of a buff to that boop. Already a very strong peel tool, now even better. One that can be even used to try and confirm kills on squishy targets if you duel them out. So an interesting thing watching from kind of, you know, in the Nottingham dugout, so to speak, where we all, you know, sit and eat donuts all day. It's a wonderful place. It's named after one of the best donut shops in the world. But we sit in the dugout, and last season they played a lot of the Mercy style, very much protect the president strategy. When you have a top 80 DPS player and you can stick a Mercy pocket on them, why wouldn't, right? But the need for speed has been something that is realized by this team right now. So Lucio is becoming more of a must pick. They're two support players. I believe it's mostly been either Madseas or Harry that has played it. Not entirely sure who, but still, something that they've been grinding. And then also Tracer. Tracer's nuts. Just busted.
Yes, she is.
It's unbelievable. Tell us a little more, Nagley. Why is Tracer busted?
Well, she just puts out so much damage and she can be up in everyone's business. You can't really get away from Tracer, which means that no matter where you are, she's always in a position to hunt you down and also to just apply, as we were talking about earlier, that DPS passive, which mitigates 20% of the healing you'd otherwise take. So she is just sort of an omnipresent, 20% anti-nade, basically. And if you're playing into something like a Doomfist's whole thing is he gets in and then he gets out. But if you're playing a Tracer, she can just chase you. And then as soon as things look a little bit hairy for the Tracer, then she can recall out, operate in that sort of almost chasing the Doomfist in, not letting him get away when he wants to get in, and just applying constant pressure all over the place. It's a similar thing with the Lucio. Frankly, the need for speed is incredibly powerful. You want to be able to chase people away. If the Doomfist disengages, just go with. Hopefully, you'll be able to finish him off before he gets back to his team. Hopefully, we see more need for speed than need for feed. That's my one hope.
Bro was sat for like 3 hours before this preparing Shakespearean sonnets worth of one-liners to bring out.
Creative writing degree, what can I say?
Hey, that's what you gotta do, man. Be a little creative with it. Be a little,
oh yeah.
Have some wherewithal in that sense. And speaking of wherewithal, we can obviously talk a little bit more about the tank players. Again, Durham on the tank role is going to be... I can get this. We do have the player information here.
We do.
Just a moment. From the Durham Defenders, it is... Outer Space Mug, yes. Outer Space Mug, who, interesting enough, actually here is told that he's primarily favouring the Winston, which is odd because, again, from what I heard, they were mostly running the Junker Queen Rushdown comp last time. So it might be interesting to see whether they try and bring out that style instead, because it could be a little bit different. Obviously, Chinese Dinos on the side of Donuts is cousins with Caucasian Dog and Arabic Dolphin as well. They're real people, don't worry about it. Also really favours the Winston. Came into this team winter of 2022 and just started dominating on that tank role and has been a mainstay on the first team ever since. And trust me, as someone who tried for the tank role on the team, no one's contested him. Guy's kind of goated with it. Has been struggling to find his footing a little bit in the meta, just on account of things never really quite working out for his hero call. Obviously, Winston can see success in organised team play, but then there's issues with the DPS that you have to play with that. Or initially, he also favours a lot of Orisa play, but Orisa, even though has actually been getting a little bit of playtime in the Korean region, again, meta depends quite often in the region that you're playing in, and Orisa has not had a very nice time with it. Europe has mostly favoured the kind of, initially the Ramatra style, but some teams are kind of adapting over to the Winston Deathball instead. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they try and run out with.
Will be very interesting. Hadi over on Space Station Gaming in the European region has had a lot of success playing Winston, which was a bit of a surprise. He's really the only person I've seen commit to the Winston, or that team is really the only team that we've seen properly commit to the Winston. He's seen a bit of a showing here and there elsewise. Interesting you mentioned the Orisa though. I have seen a little bit more of that again in the European region, so that could potentially influence the meta that we see here, obviously being UK universities. They're not, they are part of the same ecosystem. If we're getting up into top 80 tank players in EU, they're naturally going to be queuing up in ranked against some of these players who are competing in the OWCS as well. So there's a whole ecosystem there. We might see it. It's a little bit untraditional, but if the top players are managing to make tanks like Winston and Orisa work, there's no reason that these guys might not give it a go as well and potentially see just as much success.
Also interesting to discuss is the flex DPS role, which really favours from team to team. What we know is that Tracer is a must pick. You've been saying at the highest level, if Tracer is not being played, it's not like the game is unwinnable, but it does put your team at a severe disadvantage, right? And this is actually an issue that we may get into with Durham versus Donuts. From what I heard last time, Durham didn't play the Tracer at all, yet they still ended up winning. So fair play to that. And then on Donuts, they have this also quite strange issue of they have two, again, phenomenally talented DPS players. We have Exuti, who again is my boyfriend and also jacked in real life. But then we also have Luster, who used to be cool, but now he's just Luster. Very unfortunate. Very flexible player. Favors a lot of Hanzo, but Hanzo's really fallen out of favor recently, so we're really not going to be seeing a whole lot of that. And we've had the issue where Sooty has never really been a big Tracer player, but has been picking it up recently because of how strong she is and putting in some pretty good performances as well. But obviously it's not his main role. That would be the hit scan DPS, such as your Cassidys, your Widowmakers, your Ashes. But then you have Luster, who's also the flex DPS, but doesn't quite have as good of a Tracer as Sooty has. So then you get into this weird debate of, okay, well, what are we going to be doing here? Are we going to stick Josh on the Tracer, which he's quite good at, but then kind of deny his ability to play the hit scans, or are we going to stick Luster on the Tracer, a hero that is not necessarily favourable to play as?
First name basis there, by the way, name dropping Josh. Nice done.
Hey, I think, man. You see, we're just friends like that. Obviously, I mean, Josh, Sooty, whatever you want to call him, he goes to the chillest places, he eats the best food, he buys the most expensive wine, wears tailored suits exclusively, drives a Lamborghini Aventador, just always talking to people through the entire night. Last weekend, he actually walked past two people fighting, and he just took them to one side, had a conversation with them, and now they have co-owned a business together, and it's wonderful to see. So not only is he handsome and jacked and talented and well-dressed and well-groomed and has a lovely beard, but he's also a diplomat as well.
What a beautiful man. I'm jealous of his beard. Speaking of the DPS line, though, Trace obviously being omnipresent.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a look at the other side of things, though, we do see a lot of more variable choices. Sojourn comes up a lot, and Echo a lot, and increasingly the Cassidy as well. So mainly to counter that Doomfist, but you do get plenty of value out of that, and just shutting down the Tracer as well. And this is
Something maybe a little more mature, a Queen or a Ramatra perhaps. Donuts, interesting to see where they roll out on the Winston. This Winston-Moira composition has been favoured because Moira, yes, everyone's got a healing debuff, but Moira still outputs absolutely absurd levels of healing. The rich get richer, but also they get hit the least by those kind of changes, if that makes sense.
unfortunately their outer space mug chickening out of the Malga play. Deeply sad, but not entirely unexpected. And we roll out, it's the Winston dive into the Ramatra rush. Okay.
Oh, that's Luster. So cool on the side here. But yeah, Tracer's out from both these teams, exactly what we've been expecting. But it's going to struggle to scale into Oliveira here. Has to look out for that Magnate at any given time. Winston falling incredibly low. That's going to be the first kill coming out from Donuts. Disaster for Durham. Exactly what you do not want right now. Taking the head clean off Mantra. God, this is why he is so handsome. I'm biased. I don't care.
He's anything but lackluster, but unbumped. You can see the amount of pressure, though, that Winston is just victim to. He's going to get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, it's all been over
He's
already.
been obliterated so hard, he's just swapped to Ramatra. And frankly, I don't blame him. You have to play on an absolute knife edge, and there's no shame in admitting that you're just not quite capable of dealing with the sheer amount of focus that you're going to get when you're playing Monkey. I think Ramatra, a much safer choice and a much more effective choice overall.
Yeah, generally what you want to be, obviously switching up to something a little more mature now. The bat can get pressured out here, but ooh, Sooty falling incredibly low on that angle. Very nice shots coming here from Oliveira, just going to be fanning the hammer as much as possible. It's now a game of percentage here for Donuts. Stick on the point as long as you can. Delay that clock, delay that counter down, but losing your Moira there, really not what you want. Harry's just going to be pummeled into the next dimension. Maybe this man can get some sleep.
Just absolutely crushing Durham defender, crushing Nottingham's attempt at a defense on that point there. You can see the difference it makes. As soon as you're on the Ramatra, you just have a very clear win condition, which is mostly push W, go, smash heads against them. So much easier to get value out of than the Winston.
And also, the longer the fight goes on, the more you favor the BAP. And oh, that's a really clever Deadeye from Oliveira. Actually, going to be catching Donuts mid-rotation. Not what you want to be seeing. Donuts actually going to be committing to this. It's the kitchen. Everything thrown at this, like trying to pump the damage in, but the annihilation from outer space was just too much. Falling off the map at the end just to reset. That is a certified Maddie moment.
Oh dear, it's a bit of an alt-apocalypse, that fight there. Everything went into it. And frankly, I don't blame them. One thing that's interesting to keep an eye on is this Oliveira Cassidy pick. Bizarrely, High Noon has become a really impactful and effective ultimate when it's been a bit of a glorified reload animation for the past couple of years.
Oh, incredibly aggressive! They're putting the trust in Sooty right now, and it seems to be paying off. Dove straight in with that overclock. Absolutely no. Actually going to be capping the point, seeing if a stagger or two can come out onto some of these later members of Durham. Outer Space Mug just about able to escape with his life, though. That seems to be good, but again, the nice delay. That's Gangster Garner going to be falling to a straight left click. Sojourn, not a pick that we've seen a whole lot of, but has been bread and butter for Sooty in the last few seasons. Why not bring it out now?
Indeed, you just can't argue with it. When your Sojourn's hitting those railgun shots, there's more or less nothing you can do. She's just got a longer effective range than the Cassidy, and you can deny more effectively things like this pathing out of White Room with that disruption field. Again, if she's able to hit those shots, Sojourn, why not?
Oh, beautiful pressure coming out, and the boot not quite getting off the map. Dino's going to make them suffer as he has right now. Donut's cleaning this one up. This has been a strong point for them. Dome showing some signs of life here. The duel at the end here is going to be all for show, but ex-Sooty says 1 for the money, 2 for the show. And they make a dent in Lijiang Tower.
Very nicely done. Sooty there definitely establishing dominance over the over their counterpart. That was fantastic.
Would have done anyway. What would have done anyway? He's 7'8". He benches 300 kilos. He eats 12 cows a day. This ex-Sooty guy, sign him to Al or something like that. I don't know.
What a beast. Send him back in time and sign him to an Overwatch League team. That's what I say.
Of course, of course. And Luster obviously putting in some good work on the Tracer again. We kind of identified that could be a Donut's weak point relatively early on, but so far was actually able to kind of deal with Oliveira relatively well. Big matchup differential here, as we mentioned before, is going to be the BAP versus the Moira. Again, right now going in Donut's favour, seeing if Dome can kind of counteract that here.
Yeah, it's interesting to bring up the idea that Luster is keeping Oliveira in check. Usually, the only job that the Cassidy would really have against Donut's composition would be to deal with the Tracer, deny her from policing their own Tracer. But
it's happened again. It's happened again. ex-Sooty, he's killed your BAP again, but in the meantime, Maddie going to be falling, so no supports on both sides. But Dino's right now not been skipping Arm Day, going through here, pummeling down all of the members of Donuts very, very well there. And yeah, you get that opening pick, and yes, you do lose your Moira, but Donuts have the wherewithal to kind of just push in regardless. So yeah, again, Cass has been mostly favoured by teams at the highest level, but this Sojourn paying dividends right now for Donuts.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think part of it is just that Sooty is able to build those railguns during the approach and then just take someone's head off. Nice and simple. Having said that, Oliveira putting an awful lot of pressure onto Madzi's there on the Moira. I'm not sure she was expecting that. And then onto Luster as well. Good God.
Yeah, position got called out there. Luster falling here could be pretty rough here for Donuts. Without your Tracer, it's only really a matter of time before you get overwhelmed. Maddie once again going to be forced back, but this is some really stellar positioning right now. Sooty up on the high ground, still able to find these shots, but that's the boop off the map from Gangster Garner, and the Deadeye from Oliveira going to be catching Harry in the crosshairs right now. And Oliveira, you're an absolute nutcase with that headshot. Took out Luster the first fight and then said return to sender with another beautiful headshot there.
Bro got Control X, Control V back into the spawn room. Beautiful play. The Cassidy, I think, is working out a lot better on this slightly more close quarters point. On the previous point, Gardens, it was more open, more opportunities for the Tracer to just be a pain. Here, when it's a little bit more close quarters, really seen a lot of work come out from.
No, but you need to get behind cover there, lad. Uncharacteristic mistake there from ex-Sooty, going to be falling there. Again, just popping that very, very aggressively. That's an ult thrown away for Donuts. They still have a pretty big stack to work with, and the Annihilation was popped from Durham, but still, that's a little bit of a beef.
I think the ult economy is definitely swinging the way of Donuts now. They've just not really had a chance to use any ults in the past couple fights. Both support ults on the docket now for both teams, but that Annihilation is difficult to argue with.
Yeah, ult's going to be traded the whole way here, and it's going to be Dinos with the Annihilation getting a little bit more value there. Donuts obviously winning that fight out, investing quite a few more ultimates to do there. And when we say quite a few, I mean all of them. Late kills onto Oliveira are going to be quite nice though, but now they have to deal with this beat and this Deadeye.
What do you think of the choice from Durham playing the Baptiste rather than the Moira? Personally, my instinct is that the Baptiste is generally a stronger pick just because of the utility of the burst healing with the shift, with the regenerative burst, and the immortality field, whereas Moira really only offers raw healing numbers.
This is a point where it makes a little bit more sense, as they're actually going to be speeding Oliveira through. Dino's really caught between a rock and a hard place right now. Zoned out here, falling incredibly low the entire time, being whittled down, but eventually it's still going to live. And as we notice, Xsuti did get the initial pick on that fight, and Luster also proving the wherewithal on the Tracer thus far. Don't do actually flip the point, but it doesn't really matter here for Donuts if we're able to take the entire map right now. As Oliveira being jeweled out, it's chaos on the point, but it's all blowing the kill feed right now. That's what Donuts are all about. That's what they're doing, running this one through. 92% on the point. Someone from Dome's going to have to retouch this. It's going to have to perhaps be the Lucio. Try and get back here as we reach 98% on the point. Going to be taken down once again. Donuts going to be taking your first map of the day, and that's exactly what we want to see.
Fantastic. And what's that music I hear? Something tells me Lust activated Ultra Instinct in that final fight. Oliveira just could not hit that slippery Tracer. Just very narrow hitbox at the best of times, but in the hands of a player like that, so difficult to land those shots, especially in high pressure moments like that.
Yeah, strong boots coming out here from Gangsagana there, but honestly, generally when you're kind of looking at the Donuts roster, you are thinking that they're one-trick ponies, that they're just going to be carried by, you know, they're just going to be carried by Sooty hitting a lot of shots, and admittedly that did happen there, but the entire team was really in sync there. Obviously the ult economy, they did overinvest quite a few times, but it was generally very well kept, and I don't think anyone was expecting a 2-0 on this. But obviously Durham showing some signs of life there. Oliveira had a couple of flashes of brilliance on the Cassidy pick, but
yeah.
Again, what was told last time is that it was the Tracer player from Durham that was really causing problems for Donuts, which led them to kind of lose in that series on Thursday in that 5 maps. However, it didn't really seem to be an issue there. Very clean win there. Not entirely what we were expecting, as it is going to be Durham's choice of the next map picks. I believe we're going to Hybrid next.
That would be nice. Mantra, who was the Tracer player there for Durham, a little bit quiet, unfortunately. I feel like one way I've heard the Tracer interaction described is just a matter of one Tracer's job is to police the other Tracer and harass their counterpart until they're dead, at which point they then just go and wreak havoc over the whole rest of the team. And I think Mantra was just so effectively policed by their counterpart on a Tracer. I wouldn't say losing the 1v1 as such. I didn't see much actual kill feed action, Tracer killing Tracer. It was more just that Mantra did not have the space necessary to really put in the work. So
yeah, we are going to be going into our next game very soon, and it's interesting that you mentioned that Tracer matchup, simply because marking the enemy Tracer really works out on the defensive, if that makes sense, where if you're the defending team, you on Tracer get a lot more value, not by going after the enemy backline, but just by stopping Tracer getting onto your own, because that leaves your backline uncontested on generally strong high ground positions, able to just kind of beam down the rest of the team from a distance, which is exactly what you want to be doing. But on Control, you do not have that luxury, so you have to determine. It's a balancing act which is very careful, which the Tracers have to figure out. How much of my time am I going to devote to stopping their Tracer from getting value, and then how much time am I going to be spending trying to get onto the backline myself? Again, not a question we have a distinct answer to yet, something that these authors are going to have to illustrate for us.
yes, indeed. It's a really hard balancing act to master. You know, you've got to make 4 or 5 decisions at any one time, and who knows what the correct one is. We see here Durham defenders showing the Winston once again. Didn't go too well for them last time on Lijiang Tower, but obviously new map, new game mode, potentially new composition. And that's not the only change. We've also got Luster and Oliveira playing the Reaper rather than the Cassidy and Sojourn. So this could really, really mix things up. We'll see if Outer Space Mug is able to play around this Reaper and get some work done in a way that he didn't quite manage on Lijiang Tower.
You play the cast around to counteract the Tracer, and you play the Reaper to bully the tank. Now obviously without a whole lot of armor, and obviously just the general enclosed squishy nature of things, it's going to be a lot rougher on Space Mug here to play against this Reaper already. The lobby going down. That's actually Donald taking the initiative here, getting onto the back line. That is going to be Maddie falling out of favor here. And again, losing on Moira is a little disastrous here if you're Donox. It's not really ideal to have your Lucio trying to heal everyone up right now. Just play for time, see if you can get Moira back in the fight, or see if you can just take out the Reaper, see if Luster can just kill everything. So unbelievably cool right now. Call this man an artist, the way that he's just, you know, painting the town red with these members of Durham.
It's a bit of a slightly grisly image there, painting Blizzard World red with the enemy team.
Luster is also a very talented artist. He drew me as an anime protagonist. It was really cool.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You have to share that with me in the cash chat.
They call him Luster Cool for a reason, right? Durham taking a very quick re-approach here. Not really messing about for the time being. They're actually playing the Moira of their own, which works with this kind of death ball style. Early pulse bomb, that is a nice stick. It's going to be counteracted, however, and Harry died with the beat. Absolutely disastrous right now, and the trades are decent, but they are just better here for Durham. Finally able to grind down Donuts into paste.
My instinct there was that it was very unfortunate that the pulse bomb connected onto the Reaper, because obviously the hit shift, becoming vulnerable, you can deal with it. But I think in retrospect, what that meant is that they didn't then have that Wraith form in order to mitigate any damage later on in the fight. It might have been a very, very canny use of the pulse bomb to stick it on the Reaper and force that Wraith form.
Ideally, you stick it on whoever you can get, right? Ideally, you stick it on whoever you can get, because at the very least, you're going to be forcing some big resources out very early. But we did see the snowball effect there. Luster in the fight with a Wraith form could have maybe lived a little bit longer, applied some greater pressure here. But that's Durham once again. They're tired of Donuts taking the initiative. They're going to be going in. Luster falling incredibly low. Coalescence is out here from Madsies. Try and keep everyone up in this fight right now. Still a 4v5, and it's time for the annihilation. A symphony of suffering on the point as these Moiras are going to be traded out, but it does actually get cancelled here, and things here seem slightly better for Durham at the end of the day. Still having 3 in this fight. Big investment here from Donuts, but not quite winning that one out.
No, Outer Space Mug gets that primal and just starts absolutely battering people around. Obviously, you can apply a lot of damage quite effectively to the Winston, but when he's got a health pool that massive, 1000 HP, it's just so difficult to melt him down before he manages to get a cheeky pick on someone. And if nothing else, even if he doesn't get any eliminations, the positioning that he costs you by just knocking you where you don't want to be is so valuable.
Yeah, so he is actually going to be landing the stick in, but not really going to be doing a whole lot. That's both DPS ults, and instead that's just going to be Mantra sticking Luster down. Lucio, however, is felled in the meantime, and now Donuts recognize they have the beat advantage. They can just go with that ultimate, be tankier, and yeah, the trades kind of work in their favor with Mantra caught out here. Absolute brawl on the point here. Both these teams going crazy, but X30 going even crazier. You got 2 in this fight. Give him another, trying to get the Lucio once again, and that is the tracking of a man who is 7 foot tall and 480 pounds of pure muscle.
My god. Yeah, Outer Space Mug and Oliveira pushing quite deep into the defender's spawn there, but not really managing to get too much out of it. They did get a couple picks from it, but I don't think it was really worth it. In the meantime, Exuti was in your backline and he had a pair of pulse pistols. He was not interested in... He was very, very keen on leaving a mess for you to discover when you get back there.
Yeah, but now we do have the ult advantage here for the Dome defenders. Pulse from Susie, gonna go a little bit wide. Hasn't always been as successful trying to get those sticks on. You have to think about the point if you're Donuts, and right now Durham have the advantage in the ults and the health pools in that matter. With Harry falling very early, that's a whole lot of sustain gone, but that's your tank presence now gone on the point. All that Dinos has to do is just sit here, fold his arms, live for as long as possible. And it gets even easier when the Moira is also going to be taken out here. Strong defense coming out here after what was an incredibly good first point attack from Durham. Donuts, even with the ult advantage never really working in their favor, they seem to be just grinding these ones out.
Suti just demands so many resources to shut down. You saw Oliveira there from his POV, just chasing Tracer down, desperately trying to apply some meaningful damage, and does eventually get the pick, but that's not what Reaper's job is. Reaper's job is to hurt the tank, and it's so hard to apply damage to the Tracer when she can just outrange you.
Oh, but that's not what you want. Luster going down there, and I believe still had the Wraith form available, so a bit of a mistake there as well. Combine that with a beautiful stick from Mantra, and suddenly things are looking a lot better here for the Durham defenders on this attack round. Just kind of working it through.
2 minutes and 30 seconds is a respectable time bank to be going into this point. We don't tend to see too many completions in the grand scheme of things on Blizzard World, but you don't necessarily want to play for that. You just want to get as deep as possible, and you've got a lot of time to do it. For 2 minutes.
Oh, this could be devious here from Spacemog, splitting the team in two like a hot knife through butter, and Harry definitely feeling that right now. Is going to be the primal out too. Both supports from Donuts are down. Generally disastrous if you are Donuts. Steady consolation prize, at least they didn't invest any ults into that, but a very cheap fight win for Durham anyway.
That would be an absolutely fantastic time to make a topical reference to a certain boxing match that happened a few days ago that ended in a very, very quick knockout. But unfortunately, I don't know anything about boxing, so we'll just have to say that Winston punched the enemy team
Boxing
really
is
hard.
a fake sport, and esports are real sports, you know? So right now we're watching some real sport take place right here. It is going to be, again, more ults that are coming out from Durham. Another certified Maddie moment there, going to be falling right off the map, and Donuts haven't actually had a chance to really invest anything. They are going to have their nice bank to work with here, but they have a minute left, and they have pretty bad spawns. They're going to be corralled here. But Mantra going down early, that's what you want if you're Donuts.
Pushing too hard onto that and getting punished for it. That tracking.
Oh.
Very
Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy in the lobby. Mantra's happy about that kill. Luster's happy about, Luster's happy about that one. Just using the ult, not really get anything with it. And yeah, and obviously Durham, that's what you see about investing your ults kind of early, is that you may not have them for these big fights. They don't seem to like stack them all up, use them to kind of commit to that one fight. Mantra has his pulse bomb, gonna be going wide.
Stick, not quite. Very, very unfortunate. We do still have the beat to use. Are they going to make anything out of it? As soon as Gangster Garner pushes that Q button, they're going to have to get in there and really apply some damage.
Yeah, that's the Annihilation. It's going to be counteracted with the beat from Durham, but it's also there from Donuts too, so everyone on the point is now nice and tanky. And meanwhile, there's an annihilating Ramatra on the point, and once again, it's Exuti. Who else was it going to be? But that's actually both Moiras down, both these Tracers finding the picks that they need to in that fight, but you need to just fight this out a little bit more. Suti is down, the carry is gone here. It is Harry left on the point. Spawns are going to be better here, but the kills may be better for Durham, and that's gonna be the Death Blossom, letting it spin on the point as the spawns here are good for Donuts, but are they good enough? Sooty gonna be blinking back in here, but Space Bug back on the Wrecking Ball, and by the skin of their teeth, they managed to get that one. And Donuts not gonna be happy with that.
No, not indeed. Haha, not indeed. Absolutely heartbreaking for Donuts, but if Durham defenders, they definitely worked up a smile in that team fight. They had no right coming out and finishing this map, but they did it. Good golly, Miss Molly.
What? I've never heard that term before. Good golly, Miss Molly.
You've never heard good... You must have heard good golly, surely.
I mean, I've heard good golly, but who's Miss Molly? Is this a secret?
She's just someone that rhymes with golly. That's the only answer I can really give you to that.
It's like weird Cockney rhyming slang, but it's Northern rhyming slang instead.
Wash your mouth out, son. I am from the Midlands.
This is why they call it the Midlands, don't even worry about it. Obviously, Donuts from the Midlands themselves, but we did say before, a little bit of a shining star in that sense. So we're not kind of associated with the rest of the Midlands crowd, as we are going to be seeing the main things here. Most of the time, it does seem like a mirror composition, but Dino's favoring the Ram, and simply that one tank swap really changes up how you play the game. Durham are playing as a Deathball style, using their cooldowns more to kind of get in. Donuts, on the other hand, kind of using their cooldowns to kind of hold space and just kind of stabilize in one position. Gonna be seeing how that works out here.
I think Winston makes a lot more sense as a dive tank to play into Deathball than Doomfist. Just the sheer cleave he can put out. You can apply more pressure to more players at a time. Doomfist trying to engage onto this sort of Ramatra comp with the Reaper and the Tracer and so on and so forth would, I think, pretty much instantly get sent back to jail. Doomfist would not have a good time, whereas Winston is able to apply a little bit more consistent damage, and with the bubble has a bit more survivability.
Really good pressure coming out onto all the supports here, but it is Harry that is going to be falling first, even with both the supports from Dome being so low, almost one shot here. But that's not really going to matter here, because it is going to be Donuts being felled here. Good swing of the axe there from the Dome defenders. Time for Donuts to take another chop at the Redwood.
It's worth pointing out also, not a particularly recent buff that Winston got, but a change. So his Tester Cannon now ignores armor's damage mitigation, which is a bit of a small change, but it does mean that in the tank matchups, he does apply a lot more damage than he's used to. And I think that can take some people a little bit by surprise when you get jumped on. You think, oh, I'm alright, it's only monkey. And then suddenly those tickles, they do hurt.
Yeah, it's actually going to be here, but that was very cheeky, because now the ball's been forced incredibly low. This is the window of opportunity for Donuts to just go in here. And yeah, that's just going to be the Winston falling there. Obviously, Space Mode maybe thought that was a better position than maybe it was, but that's really not what you want to be playing, because you just got poked out from Donuts, had to return to the main crux of your team, and you couldn't give any space. Donuts just run you over. Interesting play there from the Winston.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think he did unfortunately just get a little bit melted. As I said on Lijiang Tower when we first saw it, you have to play Winston on such a knife face. There is a lot of front-loaded damage, and when you can get it to work, it's fantastic, but one mistake on the part of that Winston player, and it does all come crashing down. So it's a lot of pressure for Outer Space Morgan. So far in Blizzard World, he has done a good job. Let's see if they can regain that momentum a little bit now on second point.
Yeah, Donuts opting to kind of go first here. That's Reaper Ultimate. Is it going to get anyone? Yes, it is good. Luster trading it out, but not nearly as effective there. What are you doing with that one, mate? Send it back to the spawn room is going to be the rest of the roster, but that's two for Exuti, bringing the fight back from the brink. Exactly the value that you want. An Outer Space Mug going to be going off the map. Certified Space Mug moment right now. Certified Sooty moment with that pulse bomb. He's literally 9 foot tall, and he benches cars in his spare time.
Bro is getting bigger and bigger with every single team fight win. Luster there with the rare mine is smaller Death Blossom, following on Eleveras and not getting anything. It's a good thing that Sooty managed to pull that double pulse bomb out of his pocket. That really, really did win them the fight.
Yeah, Oliveira actually TPing to the high ground there. Got instantly blown up by Luster. Had to leave the fight. And it is just going to be Chinese Dinos heading forward. Pop the Annihilation. Forces to beat out from the rest of Durham. But the longer you can keep this ticking, the better that it's going to be. We're going to be able to continue it all the way, though. But now Donuts have this beat in their back pocket. And yeah, they're just going to go aggro with it. As the Lucio goes in, the timing is absolutely flawless there. Stick from Dino is going to be blocked up, almost cancelled out even, with negligible amounts of damage. Is that going to be 5 minutes on the clock for Donuts? 4.5. But my god, this is incredibly strong. Remember the win conditions that we have on these points, where if you're able to finish with over a minute and the enemy team had no time at all, you cannot lose that map anymore. The best case scenario, if you're the defenders there, is a draw.
And of course, we are playing best of 3, I believe. So a
best
draw
of 5.
is
Best of 5.
Best of 5. Pardon me. So a draw, not quite the same as a loss, but really, really not ideal. Not what you want to see at all. So hopefully, Durham defenders are able to pull something out of their pocket and at the very least bring Donuts' time back down to the lower minutes.
Yeah, what they're going to be working here, but again, it's Sooty! Who else was it going to be? Big player kill streak right now, hungry for more on the sidelines, getting very antsy there. 17 HP and a dream, but new DPS passive going to be kicking in there. Dome defenders right now struggling to find answers. This momentum from Donuts is overwhelming, but they don't have the nicest ult bank in the world to work with.
No, they are starting to run a little bit low. They need to start saving, stop budgeting a little bit now. But this momentum is absolutely enormous.
Crisis, you know?
Cost of living crisis. Get some help from Monzo. Something like that. Get a budgeting app on your phone.
That's what we'd like to see here, is it is going to be again, and that help. There, it's just impossible to really have fight into. Spacebug has actually made the swap over to the Ramatra a couple fights ago. It's not something that we've really mentioned yet.
No, I don't blame him at all. On this third point, it's so enclosed. Obviously, we do have that secondary route around the outside of the pit, but by and large, it's just this one avenue they're fighting over. So, tough to get value out of Monkey's mobility. So, the Ramatra makes an awful lot of sense. They do still have that Annihilation coming up. There it is.
Yeah, and that's going to be the kitchen sink coming out from all these teams, but the beat didn't quite catch on to Luster, and that's Oliveira getting the kills that you want. Right now, Donuts being sent all the way back to the spawn room here. Another certified Maddie moment there. That's 3 for the counter, I believe. And yeah, nice pulse, but it's not worth a whole lot at the end of the day. And that kind of minute guaranteed time bank is, you know, looking more tenuous for Nottingham.
Hello, production. Can we get a certified Maddie moment counter on the screen? I believe we're at 3 now.
3 certified Maddie moments. Happens to the best of us. Yeah. It's actually going to be Durham now going in with their own coalescence. Was used with Donuts earlier, so Donuts really don't have a choice here. They just have to run. They have to go away, but they can't do it. The aggression is simply too much there. Dry fight for Donuts. They had literally nothing to work with, but now they have a couple of resources.
I think that's what Durham really needs to do in this situation, is they know that Donuts have that Annihilation, and what they want to do is crushingly win a fight so that they can build their own ultimates back to counter Chinese Dino's Annihilation when it eventually comes out. Because as soon as it comes out, if they're not prepared with, for example, a beat or at least a coalescence, then it's going to be lights out pretty blooming quick.
They're going to have to get very creative on how they deal with the Annihilation. Luster actually turns the corner, pumps in the damage, and that is going to be met with the Annihilation as well from Chinese Dinos. So Donuts again, burning 2 ultimates in that fight, but as they get to push it ever closer and closer to the end here, the support ult charge is looking a little bit better for Donuts here. It's really on any of these members to charge them up. It's got to be on anyone from Dome to be able to touch the point. They're going to be able to do it, yes, just about. And the side there, but that's going to be the stick onto Harry. Absolutely disastrous there for Donuts. Not what you want to be working with at all, and that's a 2-for-1 deal. Would you like fries with that?
Absolutely beautiful there. Two players with 1 punch. Don't see that very often. That was incredibly close. And now, of course, we're under
why
a minute
punch
time
1
back
when
now.
I could punch 2? Says Space
Exactly. Exactly. That's the question we need to be asking. So now, it's the shoe is on the other foot. Durham defenders have the Annihilation now, and Donuts don't really have an answer to it. If the fight goes long enough, they'll build that barrier, sound barrier, but will they have a chance to use it?
Yeah, Coalescence is here. It's actually going to be traded, but that's the beat. Has to be out from Harry as well. And yes, there it is. And that's the Ramatra falling incredibly low in the stick there, just to be the coup de grace for the Ramatra right now, as Donuts like to take this. But again, knife's edge, as you say, nothing more for either of these teams to work with. We're going into extra innings.
Oh yes, that's what we like to see, and with identical 1 minute time banks for both teams. Incredible clutch gameplay from both sides in that high pressure overtime scenario. And as the attackers, that spawn advantage is nothing to sneeze at. It's incredibly powerful. So to break through it and complete the map in overtime, very, very good going.
Yeah, definitely working out from here. Both these teams are so evenly matched, and this is why we wanted this as our first game of the day. I mean, so some teams may be finishing up with their matches already, clean 3-0s. I have a feeling that we're in for the long haul here, Nagley, so hope you're comfy, hope you got the Jordans on, you know, you're feeling fresh, you're feeling relaxed.
Yeah, I've got my green Jordans on,
I've
got my Secret Lab Diva chair.
Chat, is it weird to relax wearing a pair of Jordans?
It's like comfortable hugs for my feet, alright. cut me some slack.
Right. Okay.
I've got a little teddy bear hanging off my microphone as well. I don't know if you spotted that in the in between segments.
I have a little plushie that Luster got me as a present on a night out a month or so ago. So I'll definitely show it.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Now, and this Reaper in a really
In the
bad
background.
position and not quite able to escape, but the resources were drawn away, and instead it was Space Mug going to be felled right now. And these stagger kills, absolutely horrible here for the Durham defenders right now. Space Mug making the emergency swap over to the Wrecking Ball just to try and retouch his point. You're gonna have to. But yeah, this fight definitely in favor of Donuts.
Hamster, my husband, is he going to make it back in time? I'm sure he will. It depends if Harry manages to land a tasty boot. There it is.
Yes, he's going to be coming through here, but there's so much time where Ball has to spend out of the fight, not on the point, not getting the value that you want. And yes, the pick is there onto Harry and even Matties as well. That's both of the backliners down now, but unfortunately Donuts just did too much. It was a too little, too late kind of situation from Durham here. No space going to be cleared here for Mug, unfortunately. And now there's the win condition. Is it going to be Donuts going 2-0, or are we going to have a series on our hands?
So we've got a series on our hands no matter what. And my heart did break a little bit as that sad hamster squeak came out at the very last seconds of that round. It's all to play for now. Durham defenders, they can literally only hope to draw this map, which is slightly heartbreaking. Let's just see if they manage to pull off what I don't feel is unfair to describe as the impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be... It's going to be tough here. But as we said, Donuts also kind of struggled on their initial attack round. And looks like adaptation is coming out of Durham, where they're swapping away from this Winston full-time, almost. Maybe it's just this unique kind of defensive setup here. You only have a minute to have to hold on for, so why not switch it up a little bit? Why not be a little bit kooky with it? And that is going to be, and that's going to be with the Echo and the Reaper, which are two characters which are individually pretty good right now. They just aren't played together a whole lot because, you know,
No.
Tracer exists.
I was going to say, the issue with this is that you don't have an answer to Zuti's Tracer, and let's be real, if there's a character, if there's a player on Donuts that you do want
And
to have an
Suti's
answer
Tracer
to,
is inspirational. I literally saw Suti play Tracer for 5 entire minutes, and it changed my life. I got married. I made $1 million. It just has that effect, you know.
15-foot tall alpha male gaming warlord.
15-foot gaming warlord ex Suti.
Why not? And unfortunately, there is no answer to the Tracer right now, so should be pretty free.
Yeah, but there's also no answer to the Echo, unless it's just going to be a bit of anti-air action from Suti there. Not what I was expecting, but works out regardless in this frontline brawl right now. Dino's incredibly low, but not going to be dying there, and that's the point capped! Objective-based game, Durham! Objective-based game!
Oh dear.
Play of the game.
Oh dear. I'm not sure it's a strict C9, but it's pretty close to a C9.
Right. So,
Pretty
here's
close
what I'm
to
going to
C9.
say. Guys. We're going to start like a swear jar, but instead of a swear jar, because we are better than that, it's going to be a C9 jar.
That is why I have turned my lights to angry red. C9s make me angry.
Angry red coming out from Matt Neckley, and now more calm. Guys.
Oh, nice. Take a deep breath.
Guys.
2-0 to Donuts.
Wow, and this is a little bit different. Again, there is still, not to be too much of a doomer, because I am incredibly biased, and if Donuts win, I will gladly, give them all a very big hug, Sooty especially, though I might struggle to get myself around his
Get your
arms. They are
arms
the size of tree trunks, of course. But
dear.
still, it's really interesting coming out with kind of a new lease on life here. They're playing confident, they're playing smooth, and it seems to be really working out for them. Dumb struggling to find some answers, but they still have a lot of opportunity to do this, especially because we're going over to a couple map types which Donut tend to struggle on. Flashpoint is cursed, I believe.
That's an interesting one.
Especially if they pick, especially if they end up picking Suravaso or anything like that. But we're going to figure that out for you after a 3-minute break. So don't go anywhere because Donuts might be closing this out, but the don't reverse sweep always very much on the table. We'll see you in 3 minutes.
Oh yes, you never know.
No, they're not. Super with the credit. OnlyFans. Putting on the big round.
Everyone is in hate snakes, and this snake will end it here for the double kill point from Kyrie on the back of this fight. Cancel fast forward the team.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the University Esports Overwatch 2 prize playoffs representing the UK and Republic of Ireland. Donuts 2-0 up in this series against Durham, and this is a far cry from the last match where they played, where I believe at this point they were 1-1. Obviously, that 5-map potential, that Durham reverse sweep, it's looming. It's in the distance. It's a weird guy from across the bar kind of looking at you, making you feel perhaps slightly uncomfortable, but still just, you know, it's there and it's very, very possible.
It's a really, really uncomfortable analogy there, but it's true, it's possible. Durham, they have been showing chops. They've not really managed to find a solution to Sooty on the Tracer, but the potential exists. Other than that, I think if you do manage to find a way to have Sooty suddenly lose use of both his arms, then they have a pretty solid chance of managing to pull this back. Unfortunately, that's unlikely, witchcraft notwithstanding.
You know, my main thing about Sooty is that I'm very impressed he's still able to play the game, considering just how ginormous his arms are. You know, like moving the mouse seems impossible for the lad. As we do actually get to see the next map that we are going into is going to be Suravasa. Now, if the Durham reverse sweep were to start anywhere, it would be here. I believe that out of all of the past few weeks of university competition that Donuts have been playing, they have won a total of 2 Suravasa maps. Maybe even 1.
Okay.
And they have played, I'm gonna say, at least 7.
Okay.
So it's not a map they've figured out yet. And obviously Durham having this be their choice, they seem a bit more well drilled on it. Obviously the kind of chaotic style with these fast fights could work in their favor because a organized team can really do wonders here. And Durham definitely seem pretty happy. Yeah, Durham definitely seem pretty happy to play an organized style. So we are going to be going into our match very, very shortly. Players are ready. We're ready. I mean, it would be an absolutely phenomenal match to watch.
I hope so. Yeah, if we were to list some of the issues that we've seen from Durham, communication and organisation really is not one of them. The issue is purely just that they haven't managed to shut down Sooty. They haven't managed to find an answer to that Tracer, who has been, as I was describing a little bit in the pre-show, effectively a 20% constant, omnipresent anti-nade across the entire team. She's just up in everyone's business and just causing problems. And if you can't shut down a Tracer of that caliber, really, really is just going to run rampant.
It seems that the Dome strategy seems to be trying to ignore the Tracer, which it's kind of like ignoring a nuclear bomb that's inside your house. Like, you can do it for a while, and maybe you'll get, like, maybe if you're lucky enough, you'll eventually get out of the blast radius, but there comes a time where it's going to go off, and it's going to destroy absolutely everything. It's something that needs to be dealt with. You either have to find a way to answer Sooty, or you have to find a way to kill everyone else as fast as humanly possible. That's going to be done here, but we talk about Sooty so much simply because obviously incredibly talented top 8 DPS player, but let's not remember, the rest of this Nottingham roster are no slouches at all. This is an all GM team, all star-studded team. All have been putting in some absolutely phenomenal performances, and I believe the Donuts haven't secured anything other than a top 8 finish for the last 3 University Esports seasons or so.
Oh, very well done. And as well, if you look at the other team, of course, we have incredible pedigree in the form of Maddie, in terms of record Overwatch players falling off the map.
3 certified Maddie moments here. As it is going to be.
Apologise to Maddie.
This is a point where I may actually favour Durham here on the BAP, simply because these high grounds really easy to get your BAP on top of and really difficult to contest right now. As it is going to be Luster on the Tracer instead, realising that, and that, unfortunately Mantra getting the better of that duel there. Kind of what you want to be seeing here if you're a Durham fan. If you're a Durham fan in the chat, apologies about everything I've been saying for the past hour or so. Nothing personal, I guess. Harry will be felled, but Sooty falls in the meanwhile as well. That late kill onto PT113. Not going to be worth a whole lot. First cap on Flashpoint means a whole lot.
What we saw there actually was both Mantra and Oliveira just going straight for Luster on the Tracer. And we see now they've swapped back over. Luster has given the Tracer over to Sooty and swapped onto Reaper. So maybe they just figure, why fix what isn't broken? They got collapsed on pretty effectively in the last team fight. Just give the reins back to Sooty. And let's just win it like we did in Blizzard World.
But now you can't contest this high ground. The issue with BAP is that not particularly survivable, but it doesn't really matter when you get to sit up there uncontested. As I say that, the entire team recognise that very well. We're able to kind of execute them there, and and obviously the opening pick from Sooty going to be helpful there for the rest of Donuts to just grind on forward. Luster definitely having a little more success on the Reaper thus far, and actually staggering out the cast as well. Remember, every second on Flashpoint counts, and even though it's only 25% on the point, realistically, Durham only really get one extra clean fight here.
Yeah, that's it. And I think as much as it doesn't matter if the Baptiste is left unattended, you can do so much healing. It also doesn't matter if the Baptiste just can't really help. If your team dies just so quickly and you've used all your cooldowns, then, you know, as much you might be unmolested on the high ground, but you can't do anything.
Yeah, not going to be able to do anything here. Oliveira is going to be pulling that cast ult, rounding the corner, but not actually able to let it rip when you need to. It's going to be Space Monk here, just trying to take more position on the point, and that's Madsy's going to be caught out there. Flex supports are traded out, but you still have this Ram. A symphony of suffering on the point has been created here. And yeah, Sooty going to be falling 76% on the point. This is not enough for Donuts to refight this. This is not control. This is Flashpoint. Plays by a whole set of different rules. So Donuts going to be trying to scout out the next point, or maybe get some kind of miracle contest.
And if they do, they have the Annihilation and Sound Barrier.
Well, that's the touch that came out from Harry. Did give their life in the process, but now doesn't have a beat. So that is going to be Durham there. Wow. I mean, they do use the Ram ult, but the beat advantage is in favour of Donuts. Donuts' next fight, they're going to go aggro with the beat. Whether they win that out or whether Durham are able to just cleanly disengage from that, it's going to be pretty indicative of how things go. As Madsy's actually going to be swapping off the Moira, thinking another BAP angle here.
Yeah, I do think that Baptiste is just generally a stronger hero at the moment because of the sheer versatility and utility that you get out of him compared to Moira. Yes, Moira can put out some tasty damage and get a nice cheap ultimate in Coalescence that you can use nearly every fight, but that immortality field, you can't argue with it. It's so strong, and the amplification matrix is incredibly
But also you die off cooldown. Mantra is proving that right now, but BAP is, when it is a Tracer meta, BAP is simply Respawn Simulator. There's a reason that the favoured flex sports right now are Moira and Kiriko most of the time. Because, yeah, Tracer's not going to be able to lock you down that easy. There's a reason that Brig has fallen out of the meta. You don't have enough ability to get away from that mosquito in your backline.
She is a mosquito, but in that fight at least, she got very handily swatted by Durham. We re-engage now onto the high ground with Hinder onto Luster.
Yeah, speaking of Luster, actually going to be letting the ultimate rip right now. That's the value that you want. Durham not investing really anything on the defensive side there. And yeah, 60% on the point is going to be when Donuts likes to cap it here. But what resources they have to work with? It's going to be Sooty having to get a pulse bomb here to get the Donuts ult economy ticking over nicely once again. They do have this beat to sustain though.
Yeah, they got the beat to sustain. I think it's the same beat they had at the end of that first point, actually.
It is.
But Durham are coming into this, and they're going to get that Annihilation first. And I think Annihilation in this matchup is really the ultimate to keep an eye on. Oliveira with the Cassidy ult might be able to get something. It's alright, it's a zoning ult. We shan't judge.
Yeah, Sooty going to be forced out here, and yeah, the zoning ultimate there, initially considered a little bit of a meme here, but it is going to be a big collapse here, and they do actually manage to just get the jump onto Oliveira, so now the DPS are traded out. Annihilation here, however, so strong right now. This window in a really awkward position does allow Spaceman to get traded out as we hit 90% on this point, but the flip came out here for Durham. So yes, it's a good fight for Donuts. They're getting the picks, they are favoured here, but now they have to hold on for a whole lot longer.
The challenge now facing Durham is that while they did get the flip and they did get to 99%, they don't really have much to work with in terms of snatching that point back off Nottingham, who are building up that Annihilation now quickly, and they do have this pulse bomb. Both teams have the pulse bomb, I suppose, but you really do want to keep an eye on Sooty because he lands there.
Mantra no slouch though. Mantra absolutely no slouch.
Not.
This map could be locked down here. Obviously the immortality field has been forced out there, and that's just going to be the stick onto Dinos. Immortality Field Force there as well. The Annihilation 2, but that is Luster falling in the fight. Oliveira playing at range, getting the value that you want, and the clean dinks onto Sooty. You've finally figured out how to shut the man down, and that's hitting every damn headshot in the world. And it's only a matter of time before Donuts get routed here, and Durham 2 up on Suravasa, looking to close this one out.
Interestingly there as well, Chinese Dino popped that Annihilation before Gangster Ghana had the sound barrier. And therefore, Gangster Ghana now has the sound barrier to attack in this first fight on this third point. It's map point now to Durham.
We see Sooty actually swapping over to the Cassidy now, and again, Luster back on the Tracer. So we have the mirrors coming out here. Sooty, obviously top 80 DPS, primarily a hit scan player, so arguably even more of a comfortable pick for the man, but could still struggle here, as we do see perfectly mirrored comps on either side right now. And also, Maddie, not traditionally the bat player, but that's more in Harry's wheelhouse for this team. It's going to be another Oliveira Cassidy ultimate, and that is going to be catching onto Sooty. So much overwhelming damage trying to come out onto Space Mug, but unfortunately not enough right now, and really making something out of nothing with these Kaz ultimates are Durham.
Absolutely, yeah. It's, as I was saying, it's an ultimate that has become a bit of a joke in the community for the past couple of years. You know, oh, it's just a way to reload faster once you've used a roll. But in this meta, it seems like it is actually finding a lot of value. You know, you have to. It forces people away so effectively, and then sometimes they just peek their head a little bit too early and just get blown away.
Yeah, it's going to be Donuts reapproaching this point. That is the window, so a lot of space is going to be cleared here, and that's what the value that you want from your DPS. Finding Oliveira here. Now it's only a matter of time before Dome defenders are pushed away from this. They do have a big stack of ultimates. Going to be interesting to see. They are actually going to be committing that Annihilation, counteracted instead, and it is going to be on the front line. Sooty is able to eventually find that killing blow. The coup de grace! That was a headshot? What are you doing, man? 3 for the boy? What is this? He is now 17 foot tall. He is deadlifting continents. He's deadlifting the team. He literally bench pressed Poland yesterday.
Oh my god, not Poland.
All of
That's
Poland.
a big country, man.
I know. And he did it anyway. What the hell?
Check him PC. He's a very good player, but this not normally. This is absolutely incredible. You just don't expect to see shots like that. I mean, maybe we should expect to see shots like it, but it doesn't mean it isn't beautiful. A beautiful, beautiful surprise when it happens. Re-engaging
Yeah,
now.
but now
Chinese Dino has that Annihilation.
Yeah, no beat either. That is going to be another Immortality Field forced out here. Boop does come through, but no, the aggression is too good from Donuts. And yeah, that is the health bars simply falling there. Harry is kind of caught on the backhand. Can't really ignore it. Has been caught out a couple of times. Not traditionally a Lucio player, but that's something that we said in the pre-game. Donuts trying to play Lucio for the team. Maddie is using a very late window there. Not necessarily going to get a whole lot, but again, whether Durham are even going to be able to have a clean refight of this, yeah, not looking likely, and they seem to agree. It's 90% on the point. Again, now comes the coin flip. Are you going to get the point next to you or not?
Let's see.
It's going to be the Durham
I'm sure
point.
they're still
Okay,
happy.
there it is.
They're still happy that they're on match point. Not match point, map point, pardon me.
I mean,
If you look at the ultimates, though.
I mean, Maddie is notoriously bad at calling coin flips, so it's not a surprise that would be unlucky in this situation as well. I'm going to be taking very early positioning here on the point. See if Donuts play this one stacked up, or if they decide to try and take angles here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how one can be good at coin flips, but there you go. You see, they are taking coast a little bit, Donuts, trying to push around the outside, and then they rotate in through the main side of things.
Oh, there it is,
now.
once again. Yeah, and that's the kill through onto Maddie. The Immortality Field did come out here, so a little bit of sustain here for Dinos on the point, but not enough, unfortunately. Oliveira, happy cleanup, 3! That's very well played. Thanks for that one,
beautiful.
Says Mantra. And yeah, Durham taking first cap of the point there. Again, these Deadeyes have been sublime from Durham.
Absolutely beautiful. I'm actually looking at the player information here for Oliveira. He's listed as having the highest peak on the team. This is alongside Space Mug being a feeder. So how serious they took this is up for debate. But what you're seeing there is the real chops from Oliveira. really putting in work now. He's got slightly more space to work with away from Suti's Tracer.
Yeah, is the speed boost here. Pulse Bomb as well, and that's going to be the damage coming through. It took out Maddie, and it took out Suti as well. Just absolutely overwhelming there. Durham seem on the precipice of beginning their journey to the reverse sweep right now.
Let's go.
Donuts are going to be able to retouch this. They have enough time, but the fight is going to be scrappy, to say the least. They're going to be pushing into a window.
It's very difficult to push into that window. It's not what you want to do. They do have the beat to answer it potentially, and if they can stay alive long enough, they'll have the annihilation. But they have been getting crushed recently in these fights pretty early. So let's see.
Oh my god! Dinos gets absolutely deleted from the game, and now Durham have a beat of their own. They have the window to shoot through all over, but the crying now for Donuts, and there we have it. This is going to be a bit more of a series than we anticipated, ladies and gentlemen. Durham defenders taking that first step towards victory.
Absolutely beautiful. Oliveira definitely coming into his own in that match. Just really putting that Cassidy to work, doing what you got to play the game as well. It's what he wants to do. He wants to shut down that Tracer and just pump through damage. It was a fantastic read as well from Durham, knowing that Chinese Dino was about to have that annihilation and they needed to kill him rapid. Incredible job.
Not just rapid, but sooner than rapid. Please, just
instantaneous.
Genuinely, it feels like they're looking at Exuti saying, just kill it before it lays eggs, please. Like, anything like that. And it really seemed to work out there again, kind of forcing the Donuts players off of their comfort picks and onto kind of interesting roles. Again, Suti getting so much done on the Tracer, but eventually forced to play the Cass instead, and Luster, unfortunately, not quite having the same impact. Again, Mantra, incredibly strong right now. Durham doing a really good job here on Flashpoint. Again, an organized team. Again, the fact that they were consistently able to get kills and value out of Deadeye, one of the ultimates of all time, you know, it's
one of the ultimates.
Yeah, it's really good for them, as Donuts have already picked their next map. Actually, we are going to be seeing it here. Now the map picks do come in their favor. It is going to be New Queen Street. Now, this is a weird one. We don't see this map ever, to be honest.
No, not recently anyway. It's been a lot of Esperança recently. I'm probably pronouncing that horrifically, but there you go. Portuguese is not my strong suit. Esperança. Sure, I'm a lot more in my phonetic wheelhouse with New Queen Street, although I shan't attempt a Canadian accent on that.
What are you, John Portugal or something? Stephen
sure,
Canada, even?
Who knows? Who knows? New Queen Street is an odd game. I think Push in general is a bit of an odd game mode, but it is a good map, or it's a good game mode in general, New Queen Street in particular, for this sort of rush style. Esperança, there's so much more high ground. It's easier to get value out of the dive, out of the Winston and the Doomfist and so on. And neither team really seems that interested in pushing the dive. It is rush. So I can see why
Initially, we saw that from Durham. They exclusively ran the Winston. When they did,
they got squashed.
They did kind of get destroyed, unfortunately. But yeah, it kind of worked out in the end eventually, because now they got to Flashpoint, and now we get to push as well. Again, one of the newer modes released in Overwatch 2. It has been out for over a year now, which is really weird to think about. But Overwatch 2 has been out for a year and a half. Yeah, holy hell. And New Queen Street, one of the staple maps that was being played a lot at the very start of that. But as we said, teams always go to Esperança. If not, they want to play Brawl, they'll go over to Colosseo. New Queen Street lends itself over to a whole host of different things. Part of me has a theory here. This was picked here from Nottingham because there's a pocket strat where they really like to run either a Sojourn or a Soldier who just kind of plays as a one-man army away from the rest of the team, killing everything kind of situation. A New Queen Street, it's a fairly, even as a push map, it's fairly wide, has a lot of angles to take, especially in that main kind of central position where a soldier can in fact just sprint around the entire map and play the game uncontested. It's never really forced to stack with the team at any point in time, so it works out for him.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the soldier, not a character we've really seen, but if it's a pocket strategy that they're known to pull out, this is a pretty good map to do it. There are a lot of little cut-throughs and ways you can sort of skedaddle your way around. So it could be really interesting to see that coming out. And there's not really any question in my mind who's going to be on that soldier, being that annoying little gnat in the neck of Durham. I have a feeling it's going to be Sooty if they pull that out.
Yeah, we are actually having a player. We are actually going to have a player switch here that is going to be coming out.
Ooh,
from.
okay.
Yeah, not entirely sure who yet, but so a little bit of chatter
Very interesting.
right now. A little bit of chatter right now about a new kind of
why
player
not?
swapping into the team. Not going to be for the Donuts roster. They're the same 5. If we're looking at, and again, probably should have seen this before. My bad, mate. But if we're kind of looking before here at Durham, trying to see who it could be.
Could potentially be. They do have a captain listed as Nutty Nanza, but there's not really any player information.
Well, that's Mantra. That's just Mantra.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Unless it is Nanza. Actually, I don't know.
I
may have just spread misinformation live on stream, which is one of my favorite things to do of all time. Anyway, going online, spreading misinformation. It's something of a passion, dare I say. So I'm
Professional
not too sad
troll.
about it. Yes,
I rate
professional.
it. So it's a good hobby. Interestingly, looking as well at Durham, alongside their any fun facts, we never scrim. They do put down that they have no coach, which could be. I don't know if that's playing into it particularly. The question is, does Donuts? Do they have a no? Also, okay, so there can't be really a coach diff here.
No,
So
I take the role of sitting in on their games and telling them they are playing the game wrong and they should give me the controller. But that is far from a coaching role because they are infinitely better than me. I'm quite notorious for literally always reading the wrong meta whenever a new patch comes out.
Yeah, I mean
I've
that's
never
what
been correct.
casters do, right? Is to be wrong initially, and then that way people tell the casters what they should be saying instead.
Yes, as players are actually ready for real this time. Obviously, we do want to give
Excellent.
a big shout out to our producers, kind of working overtime in the back right now, Leah and Missy, as well as Becca for obviously managing the whole broadcast, putting it all together, doing a phenomenal job locking things down. And the backside there, they are going to be with you for the entire night. And again, if this series is anything to go by, seems like we're going to be here for quite a while. So, put on your, get your popcorn, put on your comfy socks, your comfy Jordans, whatever floats your boat.
I knew it.
just
I knew
chill.
you were going to say that.
It's a good bit. That's good. It's a really
There's nothing
good
wrong
bit.
with comfy Jordans, all right? They I spent good money on them. Gosh darn it, I'm gonna wear them.
Bro spent £200 on a pair of slippers.
Basically, yeah, not quite 200. to be fair.
Something like that. Oh well. It is actually going to be, it
Triple
seems Ilgi going to be coming in for Durham. Really unfamiliar with this player. Going to be locking the bat very early on. Whether it is an upgrade or a downgrade, kind of has yet to be seen.
5,
It did seem
It's
that
definitely a grade.
it did seem that one of the Durham players earlier may have been a substitute, so maybe this is their primary player. At which point, things are kind of rough for Donuts as they are going to be running out here. Actually, they're just going to be running, again, traditional comp, standard stuff, the Tracer and the Reaper right now. But again, Oliver was doing a relatively good job last time of actually shutting that Tracer down. Let me see how it works this time.
Yeah, hopefully he can keep that momentum up and maintain the sort of oppressive force that he was on Sulavasa. They're just poking at the moment, really, around this beautiful, beautiful hockey statue. Both teams sort of looking for an opening and not really finding much. You can see Durham are a little bit more spread out, not really wanting to commit in the same way.
Ooh, but Oliveira is going to be caught out there. Good wherewithal from members of Donuts to go forward there at the right time. The sustain here is good. Obviously, Moira's sustain comes in cycles based off of her ability to kind of use all the healing juice and then kind of build it all back up. But really working well there is Sooty trying to play Touch a Spawn Door challenge almost.
Hell, why not? Touch that spawn door. Unlock yourself some rewards for that. We should have a Touch the Spawn Door prize, I think.
No.
On this broadcast. No? Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
I've been declared a rotten potato for losing that before. Or a bad egg even. It's not very nice. But what we do see here is that with the pick of the Moira, this Coalescence charges incredibly fast. So as we get close to forward spawns here. Nottingham going to have a nice ult advantage if this fight drags on for just a little bit longer. And yep, there it is.
Yeah, gonna be cooldown.
Yeah, gonna be letting it go. And Oliveira, what you doing there, mate? Way out of position. Harry is unfortunately caught out, but it doesn't really matter. And yes, Tracer stealing the bot away briefly, but the rest of Nottingham here just kind of playing very strong. It seems like, barring some last-minute recontest, they're going to take forward spawns. And the moment that you take forward spawns, the map is all but won for many teams.
Yeah, that is usually the turning point, and it looks like that's exactly what you're going to see. Room defenders have plenty of ults to try and contest.
Nice stick there, but it's going to be Madsies having to fade away. But getting into that small environment, not really where you want to be, and Oliveira finding the value there. And yeah, exactly, you don't even have to kill with this Tracer Pulse Bomb. It forced Maddie to fade completely out of the fight, unable to sustain the main unit of the team, and Durham win the war of attrition there.
Manta is absolutely desperate to take down Maddie there. Luckily, very sensibly, backs off.
Oh, again? My god, yeah, you need to be careful of the hits. You need to be careful of Oliveira, man. Put some respect on the name. The hit scan talent is there, and it is good here. Donuts are coming up on a big stack of ultimates right now, but Durham certainly not feeling too bad themselves. And Mattie's going to be falling again, just kind of inexplicably. The members of Donuts here, and what's really happening, they are going to be playing a little bit funny in this room here, but don't want to punish them. But don't want to punish them for that. Did just drop my microphone, very sorry, but
dear.
Space Mug with an absolutely annihilation of the enemy team.
Oh, pun intended?
Definitely.
Definitely. Excellent. So yeah, that was fantastic gameplay. It turns out Oliveira has happened upon the secret to playing Cassidy, which is hit those shots, and yeah, pretty likely to win. Really, really stepping up the accuracy recently. Something's in that man's coffee. Here's the high noon. Nothing. Oh no, there goes Curse Steiner.
Oh, winning the fight out, and this is so bad. You need to win this fight if you're Donuts, but they're not going to be able to do it here. The comeback seems to have been mounted for Durham, and even with the ultimate advantage, Donuts not able to use any of them. Once again, going down to that Cassidy ultimate. Forward spawns now for Durham, and oh no, Donuts, don't do this to me, man. Don't do this to me.
Please, Nottingham, do it to him. Fantastic gameplay. Really, really unfortunate the Luster died just like that as he was trying to make his way out of the fight. Coalescence now forcing Durham back a little bit. But
a lot of it.
Oh, a lot of it. And straight into the spawn room, as is the case with Oliveira.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a huge trade out of ult here. Luster does decide to pop that. That Death Blossom there. Durham did invest the window into that. A little bit of a strange angle. Harry is going to be taxiing team back from spawn now. So Durham have an opportunity to kind of tap this point nice and early, especially because of the forward spawns that they got.
Yeah, it was, in terms of the ultimate economy now, the lead is pretty slim. And Durham having to push into this annihilation and the beats. I mean, they have their own beat, but whichever one comes out first usually tends to be the lesser of the two.
Oh, yes, going incredibly aggressive there. But again, as you mentioned very correctly, this aggression can be sustained here. And Chinese Dino is making mincemeat out of the Durham backline right now. But again, Mantra, again, brilliant wherewithal, just stealing the bot away in all of the chaos. And provided that they're able to live here, buys Durham more time to kind of get back in here, which they are going to be doing. Spacebug is incredibly low, does pop the Ramo out of desperation, but that is what we in the industry call a massive beef.
Is that a technical term?
Yes, I invented it right now.
I respect it. I respect that. It was a bit of a massive beef. There was no need to pop that. The fight was over. Just sort of.
Well, they wanted the desperation retouch before. They wanted the desperation retouch before forward spawns, but it didn't quite work out. It's going to be another desperation touch here coming through. This time, a little more logical. Donuts have flipped the entire map around. What in the absolute hell is this? Beautiful dodge there. The movement, the schmovement from Maddie there was good. Bot is being pulled away here, but that's the tank presence gone now. Still support in the fight here. It's trades out now, going blow for blow. A do-si-do between these teams, but Harry has revenge now, going to be securing these kills when they matter the most. It is so close on this point that needs to be pushed for the lead to be taken, and No Touch is going to be able to come in. Barely, it's going to be Mantra trying to force it, but Donut's going to be taking the lead here. This has been a phenomenal game of New Queen Street thus far, and Donuts are in the driver's seat now.
It's an absolute game of inches every single time. Durham did so well, desperately holding on to their lead for such a long time.
What is this rotation?
What on earth?
Oh, Donuts, you flatter me too much. And this ultimate, absolutely huge. The boop there does deny a lot of perspective value there. Gangster Garner having some good wherewithal. But Donuts are playing with my emotions. They're playing with my emotions, Naggly. I'm losing my mind. Outer Space Bug having a Maddie moment of their own as well. What is happening?
That's a very, very good question. They've just managed to flip the script. Durham had that second wind initially to get the lead back, but it does look as if they've sort of run out of gas at this point. Pushing forward a little bit, but not convinced that they're really going to make much out of it. They might retake control of the bot for a while, but it's an upward hill battle.
Oh, nice stick there, and it's actually not... Oliveira was the one that got stuck, but Gangster Garner going to be falling into it. Tried to boot the Tracer away, but failed at the final hour here. Oliveira, though, does have the shots in. It's incredibly good, it's incredibly strong, and finally, Sooty dead in the back line, but this is still a bad situation for Durham to be in, and even a couple of late kills may be coming out here. A strong roster here, but are they strong enough, Naggly?
That's a very good question. Oliveira is a pretty cool guy. He tanks pulse bombs and doesn't afraid of anything, apart from maybe getting his Lucio killed with it. I'm not convinced that they're going to be able to make too much out of this. The ult economy is pretty similar on both sides, both Annihilations up, both Sound Barriers up. The question that I'm asking is, which team is going to get forced to pop those ultimates first, and therefore lose the initiative?
Yeah, and once again, Donuts know about this small room strategy. Dinos is just going to be looking incredibly muscular there. Just kind of flexing on that, high ground there. Harry putting in some nice work here to try and keep Mantra honest, and this is just time being burnt off the clock, and you're happy with that. If you're Donuts, because you are firmly in the lead. LG has actually made the swap over to the Moira a while ago. Now has this Coalescence here, beaming down the members of Donuts. A little bit of an interesting decision here for Dinos to pop this Annihilation, especially given how close it is to the end of the point. But you have a good ult advantage if you're Donuts, so maybe you're not feeling too bad about that one, because again, just stalling time works incredibly well when you have such a dominant lead.
Yeah, we are in one fight territory now. I think no matter which way the cookie crumbles, this is going to be the deciding fight. And Durham defenders, they have that high noon, they have the pulse bomb, they have the annihilation as well. They do have more ticks on that board. Luster's coming up on the Death Blossom. He's going to be able to get anything out of it. He has managed to so far on this map.
Yeah, Luster is actually going to be caught there, but the pulse bomb again. It's Sooty at the very end. Catching through here. A brawl on the point, but it's going in the favour of Nottingham, and I think they're going to be able to do it, Naggly. I think they're going to be able to do it. Not even pushing the bot back at all, and victory has never been so sweet. Donut's going to take your first series of the day, 3-1. That's what we like to see. I'm buying a pint for the entire team.
1 pint for the whole team is a bit miserly of you there, mate, but I respect the sentiment. Midland supremacy strikes again. Discount
Sooty is 20 foot tall. He is moving tectonic plates with his muscles. I don't know how he does it.
His muscles are tectonic plates. Enough caster buyers, I think. Both teams fantastic showing.
Yes.
Durham really did find another gear to go into on those last two maps. The first two, they put up a fight, but it wasn't that convincing. Surabasa and New Queen Street, they really did give what they could, and they almost came through. They almost went to that map 5. So incredible, very respectable gameplay from Durham as well, even though they are unfortunately taking that L.
Yeah, Durham definitely not out of this yet. This is a double elimination format, so Durham aren't out of the tournament just yet. They are going to be going down to the losers bracket to play their next match of the day shortly. And again, this is an incredibly strong roster coming in at the number 4 seed, and I mean, there was a certain podcast that we were watching earlier. Not a lot of people were backing Donuts. Not a lot of people were backing Donuts beating Durham. So, you know, those people want to show themselves, they want to say anything. But again, in all seriousness, Durham did put in a phenomenal performance. It was the DPS talent that that was identified before, and they really did a whole lot of work there. Mantra on the Tracer especially was absolutely phenomenal, and Oliveira's Deadeyes were always on point, always getting value. Seemed to always be kills, which is unheard of for that ultimate. But
it's so rare, but increasingly common, which is because it's a cool ultimate, you know, just from a viewing perspective and from a gameplay perspective. When you use it, you feel like you could get the whole team with it. That's why the flank noon is such a common strategy on ladder. And so to see it finally actually be worth being used is it's a breath of fresh air.
yeah, absolutely. We are going to be going into a 5-minute break. After that, we are going to have another match for you. Exactly which one? We're still figuring that out. So we're going to leave you in a little bit of suspense. Don't worry about it. But we'll be back very shortly with your second match.
You must think that I'm a restless case because I ran away, because I ran away. If you listen to the words I I've been busy missing you. Say, have you missed me too? Say, have you missed me too? Was this intermission good for you? Yeah, was it good for you? Or are you just confused? Don't think I'm leaving, cause I'm not at all. So if you get hurt, it's unintentional. And I know that what I did was typical. I just needed time to show you what you got. So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? A sign from you, telling me you need me here just like I do. All I ever wanted was to make it through. Tell me, how about you? How about you? So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? You say you love me, say you're thinking of me, but you're just lonely. Tell me I'm special, but to you I'm anybody. To you I'm anybody. To you I'm anybody. To you I'm anybody. Anybody. To you I'm anybody. To you I'm anybody. To you I'm anybody. Say you love me. Say you're thinking of me, but you're just lonely. Tell me I'm special, but to you I'm anybody. 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 Anybody. But to you I'm anybody. But to you I'm anybody. But to you I'm anybody. Anybody. But to you. To you I'm anybody, to you I'm anybody, to you I'm anybody, anybody, to you I'm anybody, to you I'm anybody, to you I'm anybody, anybody, to you, to you, to you.
for double kill points for Kyrie on the backside of this fight. Cancels fast forward.
You know, they say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Once again, we have the Warwick Angels that are going to be on stream for University Esports, representing the UK and Republic of Ireland in our Overwatch 2 prize playoffs here. Some things never change. I mean, they were the champions last season, and they're back with a vengeance, looking stronger and better than ever. I am joined once again by Nagley today, and how are we feeling about this matchup?
Feeling pretty good about this. I've heard a lot about Warwick. I think in my time as a player last season, I'm pretty sure we got absolutely battered by them in the early stages when the seeding was not quite right.
It's a tradition.
It's a tradition. From the sounds of it, they ended up being the champions. You know, if they're going to put on a show for us today, I'm absolutely certain, and I'm raring to see it.
Every University Esports top team has this thing. It's like a rite of passage. It's like almost a hazing ritual, so to speak, where you get absolutely brutalized by Warwick in one of the most one-sided dominant games. We actually have a very funny story from last season where we won a single point on Ilios against Warwick. We declared, no way these guys are that good. Like no way. We then got mercilessly 3-0'd, and it wasn't even close. It was scary. But they are going to be going up against a very strong opponent in their own right today. It's going to be the Houston Outlaws, not out of Texas, but out of London instead. Obviously, my hometown, so, you know, bless them for what they can do, of course. But again, it's going to be an uphill battle, and I don't think anyone is denying that, you know? So, can we see whether they're able to really kind of give us anything to kind of work with here? They have been in the scene for quite a while. They have a very strong roster. I believe a while ago they liked to play a lot of Junker Queen compositions, but they haven't really given us a whole lot of information, to be perfectly honest. So in terms of what's going to be played, in terms of what we're going to be working with, the players are just going to have to lay out the cards on the table by, you know, playing and winning. They are coming off the back of a 3-1 against the Arctic Foxes, and an incredibly strong team in their own right. So it's clear that they have the chops to be in this highest level of competition. They haven't been boosted by the upper bracket buff or anything like that. No kind of strange seeding happening here. But again, there's only so many ways to dress up the fact that you have to fight Warwick.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Sometimes you just have to accept that you're going up against an absolute titan, and you have to just do what you can. Put on a show, put your best foot forward, and have fun. That's the main thing, you know.
Yeah, Houston, trying to actually look through their record here. It's been pretty strange. They ended up in the winter season, they ended up getting to the grand finals actually. So it's interesting that they're going to be meeting nice and early here. They are actually in their first map, so we are going to be waiting on that. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins that out. But no, this is actually a rematch from the grand finals. Houston Outlaws versus Warwick Angels were your grand finalists of University Esports Winter 2023. That was a Warwick 4-1 victory, which is, you know, a bit of a rough one to deal with.
I think it's an Overwatch Grand Finals tradition that they are a bit of a stomp. If you look at the whole gamut of the Overwatch League Grand Finals, definitely that was the case. And I think it seems like a tradition.
But it seems like Houston are picking up steam right now. They've only had 3 losses in this spring season. One of them to Warwick, literally last week. And that was a 2-1. So a pretty close game, at least on paper. So really not entirely... So not feeling particularly bad about that one. They did have a couple of tough losses to some teams such as the Manchester Minotaurs, who did get knocked down to lower bracket, and the Royal Holloway University RH Bears. Not sure how they've been doing, and maybe have to recheck the standings for that one. But they have played each other several times before. Grand finals, last week, they probably scrim each other quite a lot, let's be honest. So it's very interesting to see how these teams will match up against each other. Warwick are the favourites, but, you know, you strike the iron enough times, it might eventually just break. And that's kind of what Houston seems to be trying to do against Warwick here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You do. I think if you play against a team enough, you scrim against them, you have them in the grand finals in the last season, you come up against them repeated times during the qualifiers and the Swiss stage and all this, then you get a feel for how they play. And so hopefully we're going to see Houston Outlaws. I'm still not quite over the genius wordplay, frankly, of that name, riffing on the Houston Outlaws. Hopefully they have gotten a bit of a read.
Who are the Houston Outlaws? Overwatch?
Well,
that
they
exist.
used to be. They used
doesn't
to be
exist anymore.
one of the throwiest, accidental, oops, we lost the season Overwatch League teams, who occasionally had some good matches.
Yes, well, I mean, we do actually have confirmation of the first map. Are you a betting man, Nagley? And you want to bet who won the first map?
I am a betting man, mostly because I've also seen the notification. I reckon it was Warwick.
It was Warwick. Warwick won League 2-1.
Excellent.
I mean, there comes a point where you're not even surprised anymore. I'm not sure exactly how the kind of map setup went. The first map of the grand finals was also Lijiang, and that was also a win for Warwick. Warwick, they do just have a kind of star-studded lineup right now, and the new patch has made them incredibly strong. For a while, they were happy one-tricking their Doomfist style with Andreas, who is Doomfist in real life. I've met the man. Literally him. So that certainly helps. And now, as the meta has progressed and as this new patch has come out, and Doom has slowly been getting more and more buffs and is now in a really strong state. Again, a lot of teams can try and counterplay him. Caps most often being used in the highest level of Overwatch to kind of just magnate him on the engage. Make sure that when the Doom uses block, you can just lock him in place and then burst him down. But that's a lot easier said than done. And Andreas is literally a nutcase. I believe, like, if you were making a tier list, of the tanks currently playing in University Esports, Andreas easily top 2 and probably not number 2.
Well, I like the sound of this. Literally a nutcase. The man is full of nuts and is ready to do some punching. Pardon the slightly unpleasant wording there. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I like to see Doomfist. He is a really favoured pick at the moment in lots and lots of different regions, in lots and lots of compositional styles. The dive is generally pretty good. We've not seen any Doomfist, I don't think, tonight so far. We saw a bit of Winston, only a bit. And so hopefully we do get to see some Doomfist. We get to cast some dive. That could be exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would kind of work out. Again, we're kind of floundering here as to what Houston would actually be playing, simply because they don't really have that sort of information here. I guess it's just kind of a testament to Warwick how, you know, we don't even need the information. We already know, right, that they're going to be running Doomfist. They have just everything. Everyone on the roster is incredibly skilled. J9 as well is also a nutcase. Micro Yeti is also a nutcase. Matt Murray is also a nutcase. And whether they have in Thrall, definitely one of my favourite Catboys of all time, or Keydog in, it's just phenomenal play. There is no weak link on this roster. You are hard pressed to find one. It has to be just a total overcoming here, as we are actually going to get a roster screen up here just to kind of go a little more. No Micro Yeti today makes me personally incredibly upset. Where are you, my beloved? But no, it's going to be Thrall and Keydog locking it down anyway, doing phenomenal work right now. Houston Outlaws, Made of Stone, Tequila, definitely names that I've heard of, that have been going around a little bit. Again, mostly a little bit of a mystery to us. If anyone wants to enlighten us a little bit as to what Houston will be doing, or if the team would like to, I don't know, fill out their information sheet, that would also help. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Oh, never mind.
You mentioned briefly.
They did.
You mentioned briefly there your second favourite Catboy. Would you like to tell chat who your top favourite Catboy is?
No comment. Next question.
Understandable. Right, so with the roster screen ready, It probably shouldn't be too long then until we get into the lobby and then into the game. I'm very excited to see
the Houston Outlaws tank player has actually been offered by certain Chinese contenders teams, apparently.
Oh.
So that's pretty nuts. Obviously, you have Made of Stone, who seems to be wanting to play a lot of the Genji style. In their information page, they just said Blade of Stone, which makes sense, I guess. Saki as well, kind of flavouring the flex support. But again, that's a very interesting pick because nowhere in favourite heroes is Tracer being listed. Now, again, it wasn't necessarily for Nottingham, say last time. Sooty didn't play a whole lot of Tracer, had the Widowmaker listed instead, but still came in and did Lord's work on the Tracer. But having to face up against J9 if you do not have a dedicated Tracer player, it's just going to spell disaster for you. You're just going to get broken all the way down to your very last compound.
Yeah, and so looking at the information that we've been given, I love the way the players fill out this descriptions of themselves. We have Hovey here describing themselves as a Chinese rack attack, which is what a way that would be my Tinder profile if I was still on the market. Not that I'm Chinese or anywhere near rack attack, but that sort of vibe, you know what I mean?
What do you mean that would be your Tinder profile?
It just sounds good, you know what I mean? It sounds better than, I don't know,
Likes long walks on the beach. Or something
likes
like
getting
that.
pummeled into oblivion by Warwick.
I mean... right. I see.
I feel like I'm digging a bit of a hole here.
Yes. Yes, you are.
It does look like we are about to go into the map screen in just a moment's time.
That's probably
as well.
good, not just for our sanity, but I think the sanity of chat as well. Upon hearing
perhaps, yes.
some
We're
of
going
this.
to King's Row. As it
Yes.
happens, King's Row, the map pick now. One of the favourite all-time maps. Dare I say the GOAT?
Interestingly enough, we've not actually been seeing a ton of King's Row. It's almost like the script has been flipped on itself, where in these kind of Asia-Pacific regions, you're seeing Kings played a lot more, and Houston actually do claim to be an all-Chinese roster as well, so maybe kind of getting a little bit of that APAC influence.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, hell yeah, a little bit of representation.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is primarily a UK-based tournament, but any kind of APAC representation, hell yeah, why not, guys? We do love it, but it's been really interesting. On Kings, it's been mostly not a very brawl-heavy style. It has been the double flex support setup, playing at range, playing for your Zen to kind of hit 5 orbs and get nice discords and deal damage from range and all of that shenanigans and chicanery, which we love to see in our Overwatch games.
Yes, indeed. It is always so fantastic to see representation from people that are not just, British. We like to see international students getting involved as well. And Chinese Overwatch is a region which has been a little bit maligned recently. I don't even think they're really eligible to compete in OWCS, unfortunately. So it's a great shame. We can have a little bit of a peek behind the curtain at perhaps what the Chinese region has been cooking up recently and how that interacts with the more traditional, from what we usually see, EU side of things.
I mean, yeah, obviously coming over. Obviously, going to be coming in here today because the players are ready, we're ready, everyone's ready,
Hell yeah.
So we're ready to see this. Obviously, we did jump the gun a little bit on the start. Warwick going to be starting this series with 1-0. Briefly, Warwick are on the right side of your screen, not the left side, unfortunately. But it may seem like mirrored styles coming out here. Both definitely. Kiriko is your flex support of choice with the Doom because you can take more angles, and Doom maybe doesn't need quite as many resources here. But I would be very surprised if this is something that Warwick stick with.
Yes,
Wait, they're doing it! They're doing it!
Running out on the Bastion and Symmetra. That is one of the compositions of all time, and not one I really expected to see.
Mamo is
Not
dead.
unsurprisingly, the Bastion just getting blapped into oblivion, pounded into pieces.
Warwick wanted to put on a show. 1 for the money, 2 for the show kind of situation.
Absolutely.
J9 obviously taking some pop shots on the Widow, a character they're very proficient on, but no, going back to something far more mature here. It's going to be the Doom composition, their bread and butter, the one that's going to get all the success with. But even that first fight going the way, even though Warwick have now swapped off of that composition, they they did give a hefty ult bank to Warwick. I was going to talk about Churo's Meteor Strike. Churo is now dead, courtesy of J9. Literally a player that's been tearing it up in essentially the tier 3, tier 2 scene recently, and just another boon for the Warwick Angels. Sometimes University Esports can feel like a roulette wheel of, are you going to get the GOAT players this year? In Warwick's case, the answer is yes.
Yes. Turns out, absolutely. That was a lightning fast first point there. Once we got off the Bastion and off the Ram and into this Doomfist style, things are definitely shaping up to be a little bit more traditional, at least for this current patch. To get into the Streets phase, it's important to not get held at that archway of Doom.
Yeah, and it's going to be Turo going in here quite aggressively. Did charge up the Meteor Strike anyway, exactly with the stick that you want. That's a phenomenal play from your Tracer there to take down Matt Murray there. Saki, yeah, just cleaning up a little bit more, and a cheeky little duped ultimate there. Going to be pushing Warwick right back into their spawn room for a bit, but they did burn a lot of ults to get there.
So what was I just saying about not getting held at the Archway of Doom? This is sort of worst case scenario. There's 2 points on King's Row second that you don't really want to get stopped at. It's this Archway and it's that final corner. So, a bit of a defender's advantage here, as always. Let's see if they're able to bust through here, the Warwick Angels. Both teams sort of just poking around.
Yeah, Katsuna Rush used here, but Warwick have the wherewithal to just not fight into this. And they can instead push aggressively with their own. Gonna be the beat to counteract it, but again, the ult economy is good for Warwick. They still have their beat online as well. Working this one all the way through. Once again, it's J9, the Tracer ace. Keep an eye on this kid. I'm telling you, keep an eye on him. Not within the next year, within the year after. Just keep an eye out.
2 eyes as often as I can spare them. It really has been golden time for the Tracer players between this round so far and all of the previous match. It was all about these Tracer players, how much work they are able to put in and how much of an absolute nuisance they can be. It turns out in the case of J9, more than a nuisance, he's an absolute menace.
Yeah, Zaki actually trying to make a play with the Pulse Bomb there, but head taken clean off by Matt Murray. It's time for the Matt Murray clock of the century. Hit a shot challenge. He's actually going to be catching Tequila and Turo there. And the fade away onto Stone as well. That's a 3K. Andreas cleaning the 4th one up, but we're not going to have a repeat of the overclock incident of Colosseo. The OGs remember that one.
I certainly don't. In chat there, Matthew, disgusting. That's a pretty accurate summation, I think, of that overclock. It was absolutely beautiful. It's a shame we couldn't quite get the 4K, but you can't argue with that 3K. See the Doomfist there, engaging in a little bit, trying to force out a cooldown or something and coming straight back out. They're just playing with their food a little bit at the moment, just trying to bust open some form of weakness, some form of vulnerability so that they can actually get in and capitalise. Get a cheeky kill.
Yeah, Matt Murray going to be falling here, living in the head of Newsom rent-free there, and finally going to be getting him out here. So push back right now, our Warwick Angels. Credit to the Houston Outlaws, played that very well. Have a hefty stack of ultimates to work with as well. Late kill onto J9, also pretty nice. Just, you know, making up for the late Saki kill as well.
Yeah, so this is sort of a repeat of what we saw last time. An absolutely blistering attack into a being held by the defenders at the start of the point. We'll see if they manage to blow this point open just the same way they did.
Yeah, cooling down just a little bit. It is going to be the Kitsune Rush. Yeah, Kitsune Rush going to be popped from both of these sides right now. The duplicate from Made of Stone thinks he's him. Isn't quite, but Andreas will be falling regardless. T-Dog, though, absolute nutcase on the Kiriko. The headshots onto Saki. Not quite the one shot into the melee as it was in the prior patch, but still can put in a lot of work against that Tracer. Warwick, they kind of want to go fast with this. They have that late pick, they want to go in, but Saki already going to be back in the fight.
Yeah, when you're playing against that Kiriko, if you're the Tracer, you really do need to put some respect on their name. It can be easy to think of the Kiriko as a pretty easy dive target once she lacks those cooldowns, but those kunai, they hurt. Do a lot of damage to Tracer's comparatively small HP pool.
Yeah, Andreas taking a bit of An aggressive position there, and that's the punch through. Going to be catching on to Saki as well. The damage was overwhelming, and yeah, the space just kind of directed there so that Andreas could get that punch in. Didn't even need to be empowered. Hasn't really cared about that thus far, and plays in and out of this cover too. Houston keeping the point locked down. Batur went far too aggressive. This is go time now for Warwick Angels, signaled by Matt Murray with that overclock once again. Why get one when I could get two?
Another beautiful, dare I say, disgusting overclock there from Matt Murray. Really putting that Sojourn to work. Seeing why she's such a meta pick at the moment.
Yeah, beat is here from Hovey though. There's the potential here for Houston to retouch this. Genji has come back into the fight as well. Not going to be building a blade, but certainly a little mobile. Can live on the point for a while, but not when Warwick are this damn good. They're hitting their shots. They're on point. What more could you want there? And that consolation pick onto Matt Murray, not going to be worth jack. That's Warwick Angels. Strong attack round. 1, 2, 3 on the clock.
Very, very, very strong attack round. Not a moment to breathe for Houston. They were sort of just getting rolled constantly. As you say, a minute 23 on the time bank is a very, very healthy time bank. And it means that they've got a pretty solid win condition now. Even if Houston managed to finish this map, as long as they manage to do it, or as long as they manage to get held in overtime, then it's draw or nothing. Very, very healthy time bank. Exactly the sort of thing you want to see. Although, frankly, given that showing, I don't think Warwick need to worry too much about Houston finishing this map. That was raucous.
Unless Houston decides to, teleport a Ramatra and a Bastion onto the point. But who would do that? Like, what self-respecting University Esports team would teleport a Ramatra and a Bastion onto the point, guys? I mean, like, come on, guys. What is Cager cooking in the back?
I can think Derby University Overwatch team would try that, and just like happened, they would.
But we aren't the Derby University. But we aren't the Derby University team, are we?
No.
No.
Well, then again, also you qualified it with self-respecting, and I'm not sure that we at Derby are particularly self-respecting.
That would in fact be a problem. Yeah. Obviously, going to be mirror comps coming out once again. Again, we're seeing the Sojourn play that's coming out here from. Seeing the Sojourn play seems to be in Matt Murray's wheelhouse. Not the most favoured DPS pick, but making it work regardless. Which I'm certainly not complaining about if you are a Angels. That man can click some heads.
Oh, he can. Clicking on those heads. We've got the Echo coming out now. Put a lot of work in the Echo. That focusing beam is absolutely brutal down on anything, frankly, especially if you manage to lock down that Doomfist without any cooldowns. Once that power block goes, you just get absolutely melted by that focusing beam. And of course the burst damage as well with the stickies, not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, but can be a little bit of a rough matchup for the Sojourn here. Houston going to be playing this low and a Hovey supportal combat in the back right now. J9 caught out there, up the creek without a paddle. That's the go button for Houston right now. They can retouch this point, if but briefly, only for a fleeting moment. But Andreas going to be punched back right now. Going to see if Warwick are able to get out of here, if they're going to be able to hold at the archway. Seems like Andreas is in the back right now, being pressured out, still alive. It's actually 2-0. More likely for the Angels.
Very, very respectable first point push there. Not really any meaningful amount slower than Warwick managed themselves. The absolute pressure J9, I can't even keep up with the amount of pressure J9 is putting on the opponents there. The Tracer 1v1 is absolutely crucial, I think, in this matchup. When the Tracers have an opportunity to just run free and wild in their natural habitat, it really, really does shut down.
Is England their natural habitat? Because that's where we are right now. I guess England is the natural habitat. Kind of makes sense, yeah, as well. It is going to be traded. Kitsune rushes out. J9 not going to be faring particularly well in that. It's going to be Tequila leading the charge for the rest of the team. So important to consider your Kiriko in these compositions. Not just their ability to pump in the healing when it's needed, but also to get those headshots, get that damage in. Suzu's as well. Andreas is still killing things in the backline, but finally putting an end to that. Houston breaking out of that archway.
Yep, and so now we're in the streets phase proper. That's a pretty decent amount of time burnt off the time bank as well. I think they came into second with about 5 minutes and 30 on the clock, and now they're just under 4 minutes. Big stick onto made of stone. That's
Yeah,
huge.
the Suzu came out there from Tequila, but it was either barely to or didn't quite hit the target. So not really what you want to be expecting if you want to be one of these top tier teams. And losing your Echo early means that this is just going to be a bit of a rooted attack from Houston right now. They are actually going to be committing the beat. They kind of want to get back into this one. Andreas plunging down onto the cart currently. Is it going to be worth a whole lot? Yeah, Spade's actually bought here for Houston. As they're still pushing this forward.
Yeah, we've still got that Meteor Strike to come out from, well,
Oh.
okay, maybe not. Getting absolutely deleted. Cast a curse, maybe a little bit there.
You cast a curse it before you even finish your sentence, and before I finish my sentence, Warwick are just gonna kill more. It happens to the best of us, lad. Don't get an ego too big while you're here. But yeah, Warwick are just gonna be felled here. Andreas is gonna be falling relatively late though. But it's not like Doom particularly struggles to get back to the point quickly. It's going to be Tour instead, just trying to apply some pressure to the cart. So that late pick is actually going to be good. When Warwick make mistakes and they don't make them often, you have to capitalize. And Houston seems to be doing that right now.
One of those things, you need to read your opponent. We have the duplicate coming up now. It's going to be interesting to see who Made of Stone chooses to duplicate. There's so many potential options. It's the Sojourn. That makes complete sense. So much damage on the field.
Can you duel Matt Murray on the Sojourn? The answer, probably not right now, because you don't have a Kiriko in the fight. And Thul's going to take your head off from a distance anyway. Going to be another clean hold from Warwick right now. And again, the mark of a good team is that it isn't even always flashy. They're just playing good fundamental Overwatch, cycling their ultimates. They're going to have another Kitsune rush as well.
What's really getting me here is the pace that both teams are playing at. They're getting so many fights in that, admittedly, quite large time bank. They're just fitting in fight after fight after fight. They're disengaging so cleanly and then getting back into the next fight at an incredible pace.
Yeah, Tequila popping the Kitsune rush. Keydog going to be waiting longer to actually pop that one down, so you have that in the fight for more time now. You can take advantage of the cooldowns a bit longer. You think that you've got Andreas out, but no, just jumps into the sky with that Meteor Strike. Western Warwick cleaning this up, no problem, no issue there. Clean play from the lads. And yeah, if you wanted a championship level performance, then these guys are going to give it you.
That's what it looks like. I said earlier that there's two places you really don't want to get stopped on this second point. The first is that archway, the second is this final corner of doom. This is where in 2018 London Spitfire got their championship. It's a very, very tough point in the match for Regent Tetron. The defenders have the advantage positionally and slightly on the spawn side of things as well. It can be so difficult to break through, and you can see Houston are properly struggling to find an opening.
Yeah, it's gonna be Turo flying over there, probably wanting to charge up that ultimate. Instead, it's gonna be the beat from Hobie. Keep everyone on the point, nice and tanky, alive and well in this fight for a while. This Doom has never been healed to full this entire time. Barely charged the Meteor Strike. Gonna need a couple of seconds though to charge it back up, and in the meantime, that's too much time. J9's in your backline. He has a pulse bomb. He's gonna hit it. He's gonna hit everything in the world right now. Prodigy level player on your screens for you right now. What more could you want?
That was some absolutely crispy Tracer gameplay there. The tracking, unprecedented. The 180 melee there to finish off that kill. Beautiful. This does end now.
Matt Murray signaling doom with that ultimate right now. No touch coming through from the Houston Outlaws. Warwick putting us on match point. Not unexpected, but not unentertaining either.
No. Fantastic gameplay. You love to see it. This is, I think, dive mastery at its finest. These are some of the best teams we've got in the tournament. So to see them trading blows like this, even though the scoreline may suggest that it was one-sided, I don't think it really was. I think it was both teams putting up a solid performance. 10 out of 10.
It was at one side. It was a little bit.
Well, a little bit.
I know. But sometimes your arms are just too short to box with gods, and some may say that's high praise to give Warwick. But I mean, like, they're really good, fellas. They're really good at the game. They were able to They actually competed in the Overwatch competitive series. They came, I believe it was somewhere in the 22nd to 25th hallmark, I believe. So that would make them a top 25 team in Europe. And here they are,
yeah.
just playing at university. Because why not? You know, they obviously have they do have the coaching buff as well. Cager, definitely one of my other favorite cat boys, is also coaching this team in the coaching in the meantime. Obviously, taking a break from making some of that content on YouTube. You know, those tier lists or hero guides or anything like that to kind of get this team on the straight and narrow. So certainly working out very well for them. And yeah, they seem to just be cruising for another championship winning performance.
Warwick are cruising for another championship. Houston unfortunately cruising straight into a bruising. The brick wall of Warwick cannot be argued with. They did sort of hit the wall, and as much as I was trying to be nice about it not being that one-sided, okay, yeah, you've taught me around, it kind of was. They didn't have an opportunity to do too much. I think honestly the only reason the first point on both of their attacking rounds seemed pretty comparable was because obviously Warwick came out on the Symmetra Bastion for some bizarre reason.
What self-respecting team would do that? Unbelievable. Are they not taking the game seriously, Blizzard? Do we have to ban them?
Esports Commission.
We're calling ESIC in. Amazing.
Call ESIC. Unbelievable.
Yeah, players seem to just kind of be taking a little bit of a chill pill right now, so we're also taking a little bit of a chill pill. But, I mean, the question gets answered. Do you even bother trying to counter-comp Warwick? Because they seem kind of so set on it and so strong in their performances with it, that any kind of strange counter-comp where, okay, well, we're going to run a cast for the nade, and we're going to run a Sombra to hack them, and we're going to run a Orisa to spear them. You end up kind of butchering your own composition that way, and suddenly you have this like weird Frankenstein abomination of comp, which is really good at countering, you know, precisely one thing on the Warwick team, and nothing else. And even then, you aren't even guaranteed to counter that one thing, because that one thing is Andreas' Doomfist, and Andreas' Doomfist put something in their Weetabix this morning. I don't know, man.
God knows what it was. Yeah, Andre's power is maximum. The issue you have when you start counterpicking rather than just playing what you're good at is you do end up in a situation where Warwick is so good at what they're playing that just because you on paper play counters to it doesn't even mean that you're going to be able to beat them. And you're then also losing all of the preparation that you had. So unless you are just as coached on whatever the counter comp you choose is, you just lose that preparation, you lose that coordination that you've built up over time, and so you sort of end up, I don't think it's always the best idea. Sometimes it definitely can work, but I don't think you're going to be able to get the better of Warwick just by selecting different heroes. I think the diff goes a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, of course, and I mean, it feels like we're going in circles here, just sort of singing the praises of Warwick, thinking which team in the tournament is going to realistically have a shot here, because last time it was the Houston Outlaws. They were the finalists. They were the ones who managed to get there. In this case, they're the ones sort of being demolished right now, and they're the ones who got demolished in the last grand finals. It's going to be really interesting to see which team can actually make a dent in the armor, or are you just trying to get lucky in a sense? Obviously, esports is a very momentum-based kind of situation, very confidence-based too. If Warwick end up having a bad streak, one of their players just isn't quite feeling it, something goes wrong, I don't know, Andreas suddenly loses all of his arms suddenly, then that could certainly put a dent in their roster. But even if he goes down, they have Rosden to back up. Rosden, formerly a Hog One trick, and a very terrifying man. Met him, scared me.
Yeah.
But also pulled out a really mean Junk Queen as well, and that is certainly something that you can play in this metagame. So, what can be done?
Slightly troubled by the implication that Andreas might lose all of his arms rather than both of his arms. Does he have more than two? I really hope not. That might explain why he's so damn good at the Doomfist, though, if he's able to play them God knows what sort of peripheral someone with 2+ arms would have.
We are getting dangerously into theoretical territory, my friend. How about we
yes,
ground
we are.
ourselves a little more with our next map pick that is going to be
please.
coming out. Houston, they sure took their time with it, but actually going over to New Junk City again, the other, commonly referred to as the other Flashpoint map. There's Suravasa and there's the other one. New Junk City will always have a place in my heart because of the sick-ass guitar riff that gets played, but the only real thought as to this one is that it's a little more enclosed than Suravasa. A lot of the points are a bit brawlier, have a couple more narrow choke points that you have to pass through to get to the point. I don't think it's controversial to say that neither of these maps play that much differently.
No, I do think they are a little bit interchangeable. I think the big thing to keep in mind as we go to Flashpoint is that we're going to Flashpoint. Both maps play pretty similarly. There are obviously differences in it, but I think in the broad strokes, the thing is we're playing Flashpoint. It's a very different game mode to anything else that we have. It's so much more rapid, so much more rush focused, so it'll be interesting to see how the dive ends up developing over the course of this. And New Junk City, it's not a map I've had the chance to cast yet. It was obviously Suravasa in the previous match with Nottingham versus Durham. So we'll see how this goes. I believe we've got 1 minute or so until the players are ready to go. So what do you think? Do you think we'll see more of this Doomfist dive, or do you think they will... Nice and authoritative, I like that.
Yes, next question. The
Next
day that
question,
Warwick
who's going to win?
The day that Warwick doesn't lock the Doomfist, like, straight up, is weird. If you're thinking more from the Houston side of things, there's scope, definitely. Again, I do believe that Junker Queen was being played the last time we saw them in the Grand Finals. And New Junk City, it is kind of the home turf. You have a potential matchup into a Doomfist, where, you know, when he's blocking, you stick the knife in him, able to pull him back in when they try and escape. But at the same time, it's always easier said than done. And that also removes your ability to play Doomfist, which a character you might be comfortable on. This frees up the enemy backline to do absolute wonders to your backline. That frees up their Tracer, who is J9, might I remind you, to absolutely bully you out of the game.
Yeah.
So it's an uphill battle for Houston for sure. But I would be more than happy for them to prove me wrong right here.
Absolutely, and that uphill battle looks like we are ready to get into it. I'm getting the
uphill battle.
calls
They'll
from the
get
players.
uphill battle means they'll get more SR, right?
Oh yeah, that's how that works. We are playing for SR here, of course. Not £500 at the top. No, it's SSR.
Do I get £500?
Not quite. I don't think.
No.
Unless we've got slightly different contracts.
They'd have to be very different contracts.
So here we go. It looks like they're showing the Ramatra actually, rather than the Doomfist, which is intriguing.
Warwick?
They-
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
Never
it is that
mind.
strange day you were talking about, and the Symmetra.
Okay, not sure if Warwick are deciding to give us a series here, or whether it's a coaching decision of just not really thinking that the Doom is viable enough on this point. It's very interesting. Houston, they're running this round, but they're running it with the Ana and the Kiriko. Honestly, it seemed like they were trying to counter-comp the Doomfist with the Ana pick. Because Ana Kiriko, it's a very immobile backline. It kind of renders Made of Stone. You can render Made of Stone a little bit vulnerable there. So we do have a pause coming through. Yeah, Tequila called for a little bit of a pause there, having some frame issues. But I mean, we talk a little bit more about what was come out with. What's the idea of Ana Kiriko? Not something that we see very often at the highest level.
No, it's not really, is it? I suppose, as you were saying, they may have been expecting the Doomfist and obviously planning to use that Ana to sleep the Doomfist, nade the Doomfist, just absolutely pummel him into oblivion the moment he has the audacity to engage onto that backline. But she's just generally a very effective tank buster, I think, in general. And if you're playing this sort of deathball-y style with the Ramatra, the anti-nade can do a lot of work. Obviously, there is the Suzu there to negate it. But I don't think it's a bad pick. I think they didn't expect to be playing against this. I think if they'd known what they were going up against, they wouldn't necessarily have picked Ana. And I don't think they need to immediately sound the alarm, reset, and go and swap quite yet. We'll see how this first fight develops when we get back into the game.
They can try and make it work, I guess.
They can.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we have asked for Houston to prove us wrong, you know. Obviously, yeah,
Please.
having some tech issues coming in, something that they're going to have to sort out in the meanwhile. And yeah, the Ana is odd. It's really
Very odd.
Yeah, running the Kiriko makes sense, but even if you're running a Ramatra, you want a lot of healing. So now you're considering what's the angle for Houston? Were they just running? Was the idea to be Ana the main source of healing for the Ramatra? Because Ramatra demands a lot of resources. You're going to need a Moira or a Bap, or on occasion you get away with an Ana to deliver the healing that you actually need for a Ramatra. So what? They just run Ana as a brawl healer, which does make sense because a brawl comp wants to play nice and close together. If your Ana's having to look at every different angle just to heal the DPS on that side, then there's not enough going into the Ram. It's a big downhill spiral which ends in disaster for the Houston Outlaws. Again, seemed like a counter compositional thing which might have worked a little bit better against the Doomfist. But then there's also the idea of, well, if you're running the Ramatra as well, if your entire plan was countering Doom, do you switch one character? Do you swap the whole comp? We've already kind of had this discussion earlier.
A little bit.
It's a strange answer, and I'm surprised at Warwick. They're just coming out. They don't care. They're like, all right, we're running the Ram now. It's like it's like when you ever have like really weird dreams, and like in your dream, it's you know that thing, that meme of like my dreams have meaning. Like I dreamed that I like kissed my crush or something, and then my dreams are just like the fan has come to life and it's telling me to commit tax fraud or something like that, you know? That seems to be what's happening here with Warwick running a not Doom comp. It's a strange fever dream, I'm feeling.
That was beautiful. That really that took me places I wasn't expected to go at the start of that. That was nice. Yeah, it's definitely very strange. Just to pull back a little bit, I think it's very unusual that you want to play the, as we get back into it just now. If you play the Ana and the Kiriko, you're missing the Lucio, which is obviously always an absolutely vital part of any sort of brawly rush composition, because without the Lucio, you can't rush, really. I suppose every now and then you have the Kitsune rush for the speed boost, but without the speed boost, you can just get aggressed upon when you don't really want to be, and you've got no real way to escape.
Andrea's playing the meat shield variety of Ramatra, which we can see here, and it seems to be working out because Space Ball from Matt Murray, who's playing Symmetra, to put in work on that to get Zion as well. J9 catching a lovely two-piece there. I mean, Meta's not at your uni anymore, so might as well have Matt Murray on the sim, I guess. And Made of Stone is being brutally staggered out right now. I'm not sure what these players are doing, to be honest.
I'm very, very confused by this. This
Right,
is
so they're
probably
not
one of the worst
trying.
staggers I've ever seen.
I don't even feel like
Not
this
even
is a
sure.
stagger. It feels like the players are no longer trying.
This ends now.
This is absolutely bizarre. It's very hard to even dissect what's going on. J9 absolutely wipes the head off Zion there. Fantastic.
Oh my god, Saki. Okay, you're a bit of a nutcase. Players have now started trying again, at least a little bit. Yes.
So it would appear.
And the Nano's now
Cowboy.
onto. Yeah, Nano's now onto Saki, who's just going to get a two-piece onto the backline of the Warwick Angels. Obviously, you'd be a little more impressed with that if Warwick didn't hand-deliver them that by just walking straight into their face. They're cooking. They're cooking something, man. I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure what they might be cooking.
I think they burnt the
Smells
kitchen
fishy.
down. They burnt the kitchen
Yes.
down. Simple as that, to be honest.
Absolutely bizarre. But we do manage to flip over now. We're still on this first point. We have the Annihilation coming out from Made of Stone, which will probably be answered by this sound barrier from Thrall. It's got anti-naded, but there's no follow-up really.
Yeah, TP play onto the Ana as well. As we were saying, just such a vulnerable target. And yeah, the Lucio from Warwick as well, able to aggress on there. Matt Murray.
Okay.
Are we going to have to talk about
Yeah.
that one, Matt Murray?
Yeah, I can think of many places that would have been more sensible to put that barrier, but there you go.
Oh, it's fine. He was just resetting. He was just swapping to Torbjorn. He was just swapping to
Oh,
Torb,
dear.
guys. Don't worry. It's okay. Oh my
silly
God.
hero specialist Matt Murray here, handing the Sojourn over to J9 and just deciding to have a bit of a lark.
Made of Stone popped the ram ult.
Ooh,
Made of Stone used the
I
remark
missed
roll.
that.
Okay. Swapping over
One
to
of the
Zarya
decisions.
instead. Zarya we've seen selective use of recently in the competitive scene. It has been tenuous to say the least, but they're swapping over to Lucio as well now. Tequila kind of realizing that Diana wasn't exactly working out. That's a lot of early control here, a lot of positioning, and likely first cap also given over to Warwick, with Zion just going in way ahead of the rest of the team there. And yeah, Houston getting kind of routed right now.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of maybe
Saki?
boomage coming
Saki?
into play as well.
Okay, never mind. Saki has decided to not miss shots, which certainly helps from your DPS talent to do that. Many are going to be going down. Andrea's jump scare will be showing up on this side. Saki has an itchy trigger finger right now, wants to pump every single bullet in that clip into Andreas. Still not actually able to get that kill.
Alrighty, here we go. We've got the sound barrier comes out from Thrall, followed by the overclock from J9, who does get Tequila. But that might be it.
Yeah, Saki used the castle there literally to reload to fan the hammer Matt Murray again. So it still happens on occasion. Made of stone, made of paper. Right now will be crumpling against the Warwick front line currently. We do have Keydog in a nice position here. See if anyone on Houston is able to retouch this. Zion doing the soldier dance that we Zion's doing the soldier dance that we all know and love. As J9 calls for a Torb 1v1 for this last one.
1v1 for the
I'm not
fight.
sure if this is going to be a hammer only kind of affair or whether this is just going to be a stagger kind of
Zion's
affair.
taking it.
No, they're taking it. You know what? I'm feeling generous, so I'm gonna let you take this one. I'm gonna let you take this Torb 1v1.
Oh, goodness. The pressure is immense.
Big pressure.
I'm equipped to handle a Torb 1v1. They're
Yeah.
all going to go hammer only. The question is, what are the rules? Are they allowed to pop their E? Or is it just... I say that, they might not be honouring the Torb 1v1 in the end.
Unless the Torbs are just kind of in their own spot. Yeah, no, it seems like they are actually shooting each other, which is not part of the gentleman's
Thank goodness
agreement.
for that.
Nope, it's happening right now. The Torb 1v1 is occurring on the point right now.
Matt Murray does it.
Matt Murray gets the diff there. I mean, if you want to be technical, it wasn't a 1v1. Made of Stone did use a bubble early onto Zion there, but the grab does come out and it is pretty good. The window from Keydog not delivering enough healing on the point right now, and so it is going to be the players of Houston just collapsing on the sidelines here. Keydog trying not to die there. Thrall trying to get the protection in. Unfortunately, not enough. Houston finally going to be taking a little bit of a foothold on the point.
They do finally manage to win a fight that wasn't just outright handed to them. They even cheated in a Torb 1v1 and it got a bit squeaky. So
Squeaky. Is that what we're saying?
yeah, squeaky. You know, it's a bit, a bit like halloumi fries, just a bit squeaky. We have Andreas with the annihilation now. I'm sure he's about to pop that.
Yeah,
Not really
does
an
have
answer.
it. Well, the answer is the window here. It's from Hove? Yeah, the window from Hovey, but J9 has no fear, shoots through it, takes the Bap's head clean off anyway, so literally does not seem to care about this in the slightest. J9 gets to take a nice wide angle here with the Sojourn. Mason going to be falling to, again, the Matt Murray Torbjorn. The Matt Murray Torbjorn. Either Warwick are really annoyed that a map got taken off them last week, or they are on stream and they're feeling theatrical or something like that. But I don't know, whatever floats your boat, man.
You know, I mean, this is one way to earn your self-reputation as a crowd pleaser, is to just lock the Torbjorn. Keep going for that 1v1 that everyone else seems to want to get involved with.
Didn't end up getting the opposing Torb there, but did get the turret before eventually getting dueled out. But you need to touch his point if you're the Houston Outlaws, and they don't do it. We go from that first match to what was certainly one of the maps of all time.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's any qualifier I'd put on that other than that it happened. Enlightening. Really,
Yes.
really beautiful
We learned a lot about both of these teams. Yeah, we learned a lot about both of these teams. We learned that Warwick are good, and they're playing silly stuff because they know that they're good, and they're winning on account of it, which is wonderful. Wonderful for the lads. They now win both of their games in the upper bracket, so they do actually end up progressing even further through this tournament. Houston, in the meantime, being knocked down to lower bracket now. Obviously, we can kind of, in a moment for you, I will have some of the... In a moment for you, I will have some of the kind of results of some of the other games to kind of see where the bracket is at. Don't think we have that graphic available for you. However, I'll be able to call it out anyway. But yeah, in the meantime, while I find that, what did you think of that match, my friend?
Oh, well, I mean, Kings Row, absolute slobber knocker. There was a lot of fantastic just dive gameplay, exactly the sort of thing you like to see. That New Junk City, on the other hand, that he said New Junk Street. New Junk City, amusing is, I think, the adjective I go for. We definitely got a sense for how Warwick feel about themselves, which is to say, really good. They're very, very confident, clearly, and to be fair, justifiably. Houston, I think towards the end they maybe started to give up a little bit, but they put up a decent fight when they still had gas in the tank. So, you know, hopefully we'll see Warwick continue their streak of absolutely decimating everybody. Hopefully we won't see quite as many silly heroes coming out in their next few matches. We would like things a little bit closer.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's going to have to be kind of figured out for these... that's something that's kind of going to have to be figured out for these teams. We are actually going to be getting a very special interview for us all. It is going to be Thrall from Warwick. So we are going to be sending it over to a very quick break. Once back, we're going to have that interview online for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
I ran away, because I ran away. If you listen to the words I say, you know that I'm okay. You know it's just a phase. Don't think I'm leaving, cause I'm not at all. And if you get hurt, it's unintentional. I just wanted you to realize that I'm the one you like, that I'm the one you like. So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? I don't know. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Baby, I've been busy missing you. Say, have you missed me too? Say, have you missed me too? Was this intermission good for you? Yeah, was it good for you? Or are you just confused? Don't think I'm leaving, cause I'm not at all. So if you get hurt, it's unintentional.
Hello everyone and welcome back. Thank you for your patience, and we do have, as promised, for the interview, Thrall from the Warwick Angels coming off their clean 3-0 against the Houston Outlaws. I mean, how are you feeling? How are you feeling after that win?
Definitely relieved. I think Houston Outlaws are definitely like the number one team that we're worried about this split. So beating them and like in such a kind of dominant fashion, let me just say, is definitely very relieving.
Yeah, it definitely was dominant. It's so dominant, in fact, I've got to ask, what on earth was going on with New Junk City? What was the plan?
Well, we saw that one of their tank players have left, so we tried to kind of even it out a bit. We played the Vancom quite extensively on maps like King's Row, actually, which is not something that a lot of teams expect from us, given that we have this reputation as Doom one tricks, but we just wanted to try it out.
Yeah, but then the next question's got to be, what about the Torbjorn? Was that just a bit of, just a bit of silliness, or was that a pre-planned thing, or?
Yeah, I think it was just a bit of silliness. I think one of the DPS players on the enemy team challenged us to it, so we couldn't not honor it in a way.
Yeah,
if I want to be honest, I think it was you guys that called for it. I think it was Matt Murray who called for the Torb 1v1, if I recall properly.
Right, I'm just deflecting blame then, so...
making it even more fun. I mean, a big question I wanted to tell you then. You said that Houston were kind of the main team that you were scared of this split. Obviously, recently, they took you to 3 maps, I believe, last week in University Esports. Obviously, they were the finalists last time, and that was a bit of a stomp, admittedly, but still 4-1, a relatively scary team. Are there any other teams that you really think threaten you, or do you think that you're just cruising right to another championship?
I think Oxford definitely is something that we always watch out for. They've given us trouble last split especially, and they're definitely the kind of team that can go like from like us 2-0ing them 1 week to like being a real challenge. So that's definitely one team we're looking out for.
Not even Donuts. Not even
Donuts. They have been performing really well lately, I have to say. So maybe we should be watching out as well.
No,
Very diplomatic.
No, we don't talk about what happened the last time Warwick played Donuts. It was scary, my god. But yeah, and then I mean, last question before we kind of let you go, kind of join the rest of the team to chill out, celebrate. Seemed relatively chilled out. Seemed like a relatively simple win at the end of the day. Did you have any fighting words? Any other teams that might be listening in, thinking that they can take the crown from you?
Just care Doom. That's all I'm gonna say. Care Doomfist.
Care Andreas, he is Doomfist.
Care Andreas, indeed.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for joining us, Thor. Been phenomenal having you here. Congratulations on the win, and we'll probably be seeing you again sometime in the near future. Not unlikely that Warwick end up making the finals.
Yeah, probably. Thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem. Thank you very much.
Right, thanks.
And I believe with that, as Thrall slowly but surely gets his way out the call, that's us wrapping it up. That is us that's going to be calling it a day. And I mean, Nagli, this is your first time hopping on the mic. What did you think about what we had on?
A lot of fun. Definitely, that's the number one word I'd use to describe it, even though my tongue's getting a little bit tired with the thrashing I've been giving it, trying to keep up with these players. That last map, definitely something to reflect on, I think, on many, many levels. But, you know, absolutely awful lot of fun. Can't wait to be back next week.
It's caused us severe psychological damage.
It definitely has.
Severe psychological damage, unfortunately. We are able to give a little bit of an update to the bracket as well. Again, it's not completely finished yet, but all the top teams have actually been able to kind of finish up now, so not quite shown there, but Warwick obviously coming off their clean win against Houston. Donuts may or may not have managed to 3-0 the Portsmouth Paladins.
Oh.
Which means that Warwick versus Donuts is back on the table. Now, the last time that this matchup happened, it was terrifying. I don't even want to talk about it. It gave me a heart attack. But regardless, in the meantime, we do also have Oxford and Loughborough going through again in all 3-0s, relatively dominant performances, pushing Staffordshire, Portsmouth and Euston right down into the lower bracket, along with the Arctic Foxes and the Southampton Supermarines. Our first elimination, unfortunately, has happened of the tournament. Wantom and his girlies, they are going to party till it's early, but not a whole lot of partying going on tonight, as they do get kicked from the tournament in unfortunate fashion. But yeah, a whole lot of competition. Started off with 16 teams at the start of this day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be down to 8 at the end of today. And the competition heats up from here now. It just gets harder and harder for these teams. The matches will get closer and closer, better and better. And guess what? We're going to be with you all the way with that. We are going to be back at the same time next week for some more matches. Which ones? Again, we have to be determined. But Warwick versus Donuts will either make me the happiest man of my life or, you know, miserable. So we'll have to see. Was there anything you wanted to say before we headed off, Nagli?
No, thank you very much for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you again next week, and fingers crossed we do get to watch that Warwick versus Nottingham game, regardless of whether or not Egder here is able to continue casting after the result.
It doesn't even matter about that, but yes, thank you, Nagli, for joining me today. You have been absolutely wonderful. Obviously, big shout out to everyone working backstage behind the scenes right now. Becca, Missy, Leia, you're all the goats working this one through. And obviously, thank you to all the players for putting on a phenomenal show for us, and everyone watching, supporting the stream, doing phenomenal work. We are back next week at the exact same time. The games are going to be even better. Teams are going to be even stronger. So don't you go anywhere. We'll see you next week. Bye all.
Goodbye.